You can feel it.
Get up on out the bed and start to move your balls. Wake up a word and Solomon Jones. Word. You better wake up now.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Wake Up with Word. Everything is nasty these days because it's like, you know, you got to wipe off everything. You got to spray everything. You got to sanitize your hands. You got to wipe off some more stuff, sanitize your hands again. And then when you leave out the room, you got to wash your hands thoroughly. And even when you come back after washing your hands, you've touched the doorknob, sanitize your hands again. Kawesa, this is what we're going through.
Yeah.
Because everything's nasty.
It is. Sorry. I was just like, oh, here's some wipes. Oh, here's some hand sanitizer. Don't touch that. No,
don't touch
that.
Man, oh man, oh man. This has been a time, and we got a whole lot to tell our grandkids. Y'all think y'all got it bad. Remember that time we had to wear masks for like, I don't know, a year? Remember that? Then we had to wipe off everything, sanitize everything, could not get together. You see those people in the stands in that video game? Yeah, that ain't what was happening in real life. Like all of that stuff is going on, man. This is absolutely insane. But it's a beautiful day outside. It rained a lot yesterday. It rained to the point, right? There was this thunderstorm in the afternoon, and we have an umbrella on our table in the backyard. The wind picked up the umbrella and blew it away. Blew the umbrella out the table. And it's not like it was this little small umbrella. It's like, you know what I mean? So, like, stuff is just happening that just has not happened before. But praise God, we are here. We're going to enjoy this day. Kawesa, how you doing?
I'm great.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I need more sleep, I think.
Yeah.
That's what's kind of been happening, but I'm good, you know. I'm here.
I need more too. I need more too. Some of it's my fault. Some of it's not. It's like, you know,
right.
I want to be prepared. When we get in here, we are prepared. And speaking of which, I want to tell y'all about this because a man and woman were confronted as they were painting over a Black Lives Matter mural in front of the county courthouse in Martinez, California. In the video, the pair could be heard yelling, "All lives matter," while contending that police violence is the result of resisting arrest. Others in the video are trying to prevent them from painting over the yellow mural, which the city had given activists permission to paint. The man and woman were both wearing red shirts, with the man's reading 4 more years, likely a reference to re-electing Donald Trump. "I can't believe that this is happening right in front of my face," a witness said, according to a news outlet that covered it. "I expected something to happen, but when I saw this, I got a little excited and tried to make sure and get it in and film everything that happened." Now, a number of these murals have popped up all over the United States as demonstrators continue to gather to protest police brutality. Last week, Trump denounced the proposed Black Lives Matter sign along Manhattan's Fifth Avenue that would have been right in front of the Trump Tower, tweeting that it is a symbol of hate. Well, here's what I think. Black Lives Matter is a symbol of love. It means we love us. It means we value us. It means we care about us. A painting over that mural, that can never change that. If anything, it makes black folks love ourselves even more. We got a hot show for you today on Wake Up with Word. Dr. Elena McDonald and Dr. Delana Wardlaw talk coronavirus. CNN commentator Roxanne Jones talks Trump. Councilman Kenyatta Johnson on gun violence. Plus, Judge Renee Cardwell Hughes talks OIC. And as always, we've got you, our listeners, calling in at 215-634-8065. A toll-free 1-866-361-0900. Hit us on Twitter and Instagram at onWURD, or you can hit me personally at Solomon Jones 1. Watch us on Facebook at Forward. But first, it's the big three, the news stories you need to know to kick off your day right here on Wake Up with Word. Story number 1, Karen goes to court. That's right. The white woman who called the cops on a black man who was bird watching in Central Park will be prosecuted, the Manhattan District Attorney said on Monday. Amy Cooper, the woman who was filmed accusing a black man of threatening her, faces a charge of falsely reporting an incident in the 3rd degree, according to the DA. At this time, I would like to encourage anyone who has been the target of false reporting, to contact our office. We're strongly committed to holding perpetrators of this conduct accountable, DA Cyrus Vance said in a statement. You'll remember that this black man, Christian Cooper, was bird watching. He asked a woman to put her dog on a leash. That was the rule in the park. She decided she wasn't going to do it. And then she called the cops. She said, I'm taking a picture and calling the cops. I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life. Remember that? She was like all dramatic. Kawesa, what do you think?
Good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take her tail to court. And
That's
in
right.
fact, make an example out of her.
Yeah.
Really, I want her to get like the harshest punishment possible, because I need for people to understand that it is not okay to be out here just calling the cops on us because of the color of our skin. You can't do that. And we're not going to allow for you to continue to keep doing that.
Nope.
So yeah, go ahead and take her to court, give her the harshest punishment available, because I'm here for it.
Yeah, she has to go to jail or something. Some kind of fine, something, because they have to stop doing this. You have to stop calling the cops on black people for sleeping in a dorm in a school that they go to. You have to stop calling the cops on black people for using gas instead of charcoal at a barbecue pit. You have to stop calling the cops on black people for putting a retaining wall on their own property. You have to stop calling the cops on black people for nothing and getting away with it. And then the cops coming in like, oh, Karen, it's going to be okay. And then they leave. Nah, they need to be charged for filing a false police report. That is a crime. Story number 2, Indiana authorities are investigating a report by a black man who said he was pinned to a tree by a group of white men, an attack he likened to an attempted lynching. Parts of the incident were captured on video by one of the man's friends. In a post to Facebook, Vox Booker wrote, I don't want to recount this, but I was almost the victim of an attempted lynching. He went on July 4th evening, others and me were victims of what I would describe as a hate crime. I was attacked by 5 white men with Confederate flags who literally threatened to lynch me in front of numerous witnesses. Booker said he and his friends were visiting a public beach on Lake Monroe outside Bloomington, Indiana, to join a gathering when a group of white men said they were on private property and began following them. Some of the men became belligerent, he said, when he approached sober-seeming group members to see if we could smooth things over a bit. The confrontation escalated. Video posted to social media shows a group of white men holding Booker to a tree as his friends plead with them to release him. In the video, one man shouts at the camera, "You happy about this, you nappy-headed B? You and your 5 white friends?" As Booker's friends leave, one of the men follows, shouting, "Those black boys want to start it all." And so this whole thing happens. This black man knows the mayor of Bloomington, Indiana, and is somebody who is very active in that community, has dealt with several civil rights issues, and this is what happens to him. Bloomington, Indiana, welcome.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even really have the words, and I think that what is scary to me is that due to the current temperature, the current climate of what folks are going through right now, feelings and emotions are at an all-time high. Everything is escalated. And so, as black folks and really, I mean, and people who identify as black, it's scary out here for us. Think about the fact that, when we wake up in the morning, we don't know if we're coming home. Like, those are some of the things that we are dealing with and trying to process every single day. It's like waking up to trauma every single day and trying to go through it. And it's hard. It's a very difficult feeling to have every single time you're waking up, right? So I hope and pray that there is justice in this situation, that they are able to, get these guys and whatever you have to do. I'm just glad that he survived and lived to tell the tale.
Yeah, it's crazy. It reminds me of the president talking about Bubba Wallace, the only black NASCAR driver, needs to apologize for calling attention to the fact that there was a noose in his garage. He's the only black NASCAR driver, right? The FBI investigates. They claim that the noose was already there and it was there to hold the door open. Some nonsense, right? He's the only black NASCAR driver. The noose is there. The president tweets, He needs to apologize for saying something about that news. That and the flag decision has resulted in the lowest ratings ever. The president standing up for the Confederate flag, the flag of traitors to this country. It is unbelievable what is going on. And that brings me to story number 3. Story number 3, Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby back in the headlines. He was, of course, convicted of sexual assault in 2018 as the Me Too movement exploded. He's serving up to 10 years in prison now in the midst of another movement, this time addressing the treatment of African Americans by police and the criminal justice system. The 82-year-old Cosby has won the right to appeal. He hopes to use the moment to his advantage. The false conviction of Bill Cosby is so much bigger than him. It's about the destruction of all black people and people of color in America. Cosby spokesman Andrew Wyatt said when the court accepted the appeal late last month, the appeal issues the court accepted don't directly include racial bias, which Cosby's legal team raised more often on the courthouse steps in Montgomery County than inside the courtroom. His defenders, however, say race permeates the case. So we're looking at Bill Cosby, who, of course, was convicted in the midst of the Me Too movement, now getting the chance to appeal during a time when we're looking at the racial bias in the criminal justice system. Now, the thing that Cosby does not have going for him is he has a deposition in which he admits getting drugs for women with whom he wanted to have sex, right? And so with that deposition, basically, you've admitted your guilt. And so to then say that the only reason, because I think it's part of the reason, but to then say that the only reason he is in prison is because of the fact that he is black, I don't know. I want to know what you guys think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Certainly, a lot of unusual stuff happened in Bill Cosby's case, right? A lot of stuff that I had not, frankly, seen before. But the bottom line is that when they released that deposition, and in that deposition, he said that he got drugs for women with whom he wanted to have sex, right? He basically admitted the behavior of which he was accused. And so whether or not it was right for the judge to release that, I think is up for debate because it was supposed to be sealed. But once the judge released it and once that information was out, they had all of the evidence that they needed and still got a mistrial in the first trial. But then went back and said, now we're going to have even more people who weren't there that night who say the same thing happened to them. We're going to have them testify too. So some unusual things happen in the case, but I mean, he admitted his behavior. And so to now say that it's only because he's black, I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. Kawesa, what do you think?
Oh, I think a lot.
Yeah,
of stuff.
I'm sure you do.
There's so much involved with this, I think. The first part is I think that I can honestly say that, the reason that it went so far is because he's black, but also because the majority of his victims were white women.
That's right.
I can also admit that, I think that because of race, that is why the case was handled the way that it was, because he's a black man and they were trying to, pin, a very popular, wealthy, well-known black man to make an example out of him. So I can admit that, but I can also walk and chew gum at the same time. He admitted he did it. Now, whether or not, you admitted it because of the fact that you thought it was going to be sealed or whatever, you said you did it. So you're still guilty one way or the other. You're still guilty of what happened. And so my biggest thing is that while I can admit that there were all of these things that led to him being in jail now, he admitted it. He admitted it. And so, I don't have that much sympathy for what's going on. And I hate to say that because Bill, and I love the Cosby Show. I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan. But at the same time, I can't sit here and back someone who admitted to the fact that he engaged in inappropriate actions with women.
Yeah. It's a tough thing. And I have said on several occasions that Bill Cosby, when I came to him and asked him for, I think I was asking him for a blurb on a humor book or whatever. And we had a conversation, and he said he could not do that, but that he would introduce me to somebody. And he did at Essence. And Bill Cosby got me my first article in Essence, right, some years ago, which I appreciate that he did. And he helped a lot of people in that way, in little ways, He did a lot for the black community, gave a lot of money to various institutions, did a lot of good. But, of course, all of us have our dark side. All of us have things that we've done that we're not proud of. Bill Cosby engaged in this behavior over a period of years. And certainly there is an element of race to it, because you had all of these white women saying that he had done these things to them. Now, whether or not these things were voluntary, whether or not these things were consensual, he said they were. The women said they weren't. And so when they got a chance to, quote, get Bill Cosby, right, they did. And it was interesting because the DA who prosecuted him ran on a platform of, I'm going to get Bill Cosby. And so it's a tough thing. I mean, he might win the appeal. Who knows? Because it was unusual for them to let so many women testify who weren't there for the case that they were prosecuting, right? That was unusual. It was unusual for a judge to unseal a sealed deposition, right? It was unusual for them to go back again after the first mistrial and say, we are now going to add even more people to the witness stand. All of it was unusual, right? And so he might have a chance based on the fact that they seem to be very determined to get him, right? But the question is it all about race or is it not? I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. I'm going to leave you with this before we go to break. One of the things that we said pretty consistently was that we were waiting to see what would happen to some of the white men that were accused of the same thing. Bill Cosby got up to 10 years. Harvey Weinstein got 23. I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. I'm Solomon Jones. This is WURD. We'll be right back.
Weather and traffic to keep you informed for your drive home in the happy hour with Sincerely Sarita, Monday through Thursday 4 till 7 p.m. right here on Word Radio 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. No fear, just facts. WURD.
Do you need health insurance for your children? The Children's Health Insurance Program, also known as CHIP, provides quality, affordable health insurance for Pennsylvania kids. CHIP ensures that kids can go to the doctor, receive health screenings and vaccines, and get what they need to live a healthy childhood. Families can be covered by CHIP no matter how much money they make. If you've experienced a recent change in employment or income, CHIP may be a good option for your family. Visit chipcoverspakids.com to apply or learn more.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Now, a traffic update on Word Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Mattress Firm. Southbound 95, pretty jammed. Common down through Bridge, through the construction, down to 3 lanes for a long-term project. Once it passes that, you're slow again. Allegheny down through Girard, northbound. No issues there. Vine Expressway and the Schuylkill Expressways, they remain in pretty good shape this morning. 55 northbound Deptford into 42. You're jamming there. 42 itself, 295. No issues into Philadelphia. Still a good ride on the area bridges. During the Mattress Firm 4th of July sale, get a king bed for a queen price or a queen for a twin price for a savings of up to $500. Plus, get a free adjustable base with a purchase of $6.99. For more traffic information, log on to SigAlert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
You're waking up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Good morning. Right now on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
got your back. It's automatic, so never hesitate to call. 'Cause I'm your sister, and always for you. And don't know what I'd ever do without you. From the beginning to the end, you've always been here right beside me. So I'll call you my best friend. Through the good times and the bad ones, whether I lose or if I win, I know one thing that never changes, and that's you and my best friend. Whenever I'm done, and all that's going on is really going on. Just one of those days when you say the right thing to keep me moving on, to keep me going strong. What else can I say? Friends are there through thick and thin. Well, I've been told that, and I believe that it's automatic. Call me when you need a friend. 'Cause I'm your sister, and always for you. And I don't know what I'd ever do without you. Beginning to the end, you've always been here. You'll always be. So I'll call you my best friend. The good times and the bad ones, whether I lose or if I win.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. We're talking about a number of things on this morning's show, including Bill Cosby winning the right to appeal, and his representatives really talking about what happened to him in terms of race. Certainly race, in my view, played a role. There were a lot of white women, some black women as well, who accused him of drugging and raping them. And he was convicted, of course, in the case of Andrea Constand, and he is now doing up to 10 years in prison. But certainly there is this historical pattern of white women saying that black men raped them or did some kind of sexual act that they did not consent to. And so Bill Cosby caught up in that, caught up in the Me Too movement, but also caught up in his own behavior and his own admission in a deposition that was unsealed. And so I want to know what you think. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. One of the things that was said was that the white men who were accused of the same thing did not get the same treatment. Well, Harvey Weinstein got twice the time that Bill Cosby did. And so that's not completely off the table, but Harvey Weinstein is the example, right? And so the question is it race? I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Daryl from West Philly is on line one. Go ahead, Daryl.
Good morning, guys. Long time. How you guys been?
Good, man. How are you?
Hey, I'm glad to hear you on the air and being safe, and I appreciate you.
Thank you, brother.
You know, the Cosby thing, I don't want to really touch much on that, but the Cosby thing is, when you work so hard to gain that kind of wealth and power, my thing is there comes a responsibility with it. What happened to him, he allowed himself to get into that situation. I don't feel no remorse for him. The system is what it is. We got to work and try to change it. But Bill Cosby thing, I don't have no sympathy. Mm-hmm. My issue that I'm calling about this morning is the rash of murders and shootings across the country. You had 77 in Chicago. You had 56 in New York City, who was on a downturn, and then you had 41 here in the city. And we, as a community, in terms of a black community, we always get up in arms when they become when the police and so forth become a little bit more stricter in our communities. And I'm for it at this point. I'm not so much with the stop and frisk thing, but I'm for the fact that you have to make regular people who are doing law-abiding sentence. It seems like the killing don't make us uncomfortable, but as soon as they bring police,
that's not true though. That's not true. I think that when we embrace that narrative, we are embracing the narrative of people who are pointing at our community and really trying to make excuses for what happens with police by saying, "Oh, I don't see y'all marching when people when people when people in your
Me and you
community
on the
kill
same
each
page
other.
there.
That's not true.
we're on the
Stanley
same
Crawford and the Black Male Community Council, before the coronavirus hit, were doing a rally in a community where a shooting took place once a month. They were going out cleaning weekly. We were meeting, and we're still meeting weekly with Man Up PH. So, I mean, it's not true that we're not up in arms about it. I think that it doesn't get covered in the same way. That's what I think.
No, we're on the same page here. I totally agree with you. And I think what you guys are doing, we have to do, and I think you guys are doing a tremendous job, particularly the organizational part of what you pulled off and continue to do. I'm all for it. I'm just saying, I feel like we're at a point now that we need to have a show of not just law enforcement, but also community enforcement in terms of getting out here. A lot of people don't want to get out here because they don't feel safe because of the targeting. But if you just target certain areas where these things are going, and I mean, you put massive cops on the street, you put them on the sidewalks at night, and you put the community and let folks come out, because until those folks who are coming to Man Up PHL, there's maybe 1 out of 20 who are carrying those guns. These are brothers who are coming to you who really need help and ain't trying to go to the guns. But the brothers who are carrying the guns, they're not looking for those programs. We got to make it uncomfortable for them, and I feel like we're just sitting back waiting for somebody to make a change. And when we hire a new police chief, one of the things on the questionnaire should have been, okay, we got a gun problem. What's your solution? And I keep hearing everybody saying we're coming up with plans. We're working on. How are you working on policies? This not nothing.
But you know what? You can't police yourself out of people shooting each other. I hate to be the one to break it. We cannot. Wait a minute, because you're not letting me finish. Okay. You can't police yourself out of people killing each other, because a cop not going to be standing there when the shooting getting ready to happen. They're not going to be standing there every time somebody shoots somebody in their own house. They're not going to be standing there every time somebody has an argument. They're not going to be standing there every time somebody has beef. Like, cops.
Will feel more empowered to come out.
Okay. Cops cannot solve this problem. We have to solve this problem. It's not about putting, you not let me, okay, we got to let you go. But you can't put, just because you put a whole lot of cops in it, when black people have to learn this. Whenever we've asked, please put more cops in our community, has that helped us? Think about it. When the whole crack crisis happened, we were like, please put more cops in our community. People talk about the crime bill. They try to blame Joe Biden, blame Bill Clinton. There were people in our community, our leaders were asking for that type of legislation. Did it help? We got 2.3 million people in prisons in the United States because of the war on drugs, because we asked for more cops. That's not the solution. I was talking to my wife about it this morning because my heart is broken about it too. But the reality is we have been convinced to hate each other to the point where I can look at my brother who looked just like me, who is me, and pull the trigger and kill him. We've been convinced to hate each other. This is going to have to begin and end with us. You can't police your way out of it. I want to hear, that's my view. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Brother Joe from Germantown is on line too. Go ahead, Brother Joe.
Hey, Brother Salman. How you doing, my brother?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. All praise be to Allah, who came in the person of Master Fraud Muhammad, whom all praise are due forever. You know, Brother Salman, before I talk about Bill Cosby, it always intrigues me when I heard brothers say we don't care, because, like I said, if we didn't care about us killing each other or black people killing, we wouldn't have Man Up. We wouldn't have the Black Community Council with Brother Stanley Crawford and Bilal Qayyum with Father's Day, but we do care. So, like, the media may not cover it, but I know when there was a brother several years ago, real quick, he got killed up here in Germantown by this foolish Negro, and we had Leon Williams, the lawyer, Brother Wayne. We had a candlelight vigil for him, and we marched and we protested. We showed support for his mother, who happened to be a doctor. His boy got killed right up the street from me, Brother Solomon. And the perpetrator was eventually caught. We demanded that he got caught, and he served 7 times for this murder. So to sit there and say that we don't care, we do care. You know what I mean? But like you said, we can't police for stuff. I mean, a lot of it, this killings, without a doubt, is self-hatred. Some of these brothers hate each other. They hate the black skin, man. And that's real. I mean, you can talk any way you want to talk, but a lot of it comes down to self-hatred and ignorance, not knowing who they are, just ignorant. But real quick, brother, on Bill Cosby, you know, as you know, brother, I support Bill Cosby unapologetically. I want to see the brother get out. I've talked to his lawyers who handles his appeal, Brad Perry. I've talked to him on the field case because Bill Cosby's definitely railroad. I'm unapologetically support the man. Hope he gets out. And I wish it was some kind of way that that judge and that D up there, that they're unfairly convicted. I wish somebody could go after them and stuff in terms of legal ways and stuff, because like I said, it's a corrupt, racist system in Montgomery County. You talk to anybody know anything about Montgomery County, black folks get no justice in Montgomery County. They're racist to the core. I don't know why they don't just wear their Klan uniforms when they conduct court up there. That's as racist to the core. Did anybody doubt what I say? Talk to your colleague, Charles Ellison. He'll tell you. Okay, Solomon, thanks for your time, bro.
Thanks, Brother Joe. We appreciate your call this morning on WURD. You know, here's what I think, man, because the whole thing with the shootings is really, it's breaking my heart. It's breaking my heart because we are doing to each other, right, what this society has always tried to do to us. We're eliminating each other. And part of it, I believe, is that we do not value each other, right? I think that we've internalized the racism that this society has inundated us with. And we get it everywhere. We get it on the internet. We get it on our phones. We get it on our computers. We get it in advertising. We get it in movies. We get it on TV. Like, we get it everywhere. Everything that you look at values white people more than it does black people. You know, you look at a movie poster. The white person is in the front and the black person is in the back. And when they take that same movie poster to Europe, they take the black person out altogether. And so everything that you see has these subliminal messages that say white people are more valuable than black people. When the cops come, right? They treat the black person one way, whereas they treat the white person another way when it's time to stop and frisk somebody. The brothers getting stopped and frisked, the white person getting told to go home. Go to Kensington right now. They're going to be having a demonstration, I believe, tomorrow in Kensington, because things are worse than ever with these drug addicts, many of them white, just taking over that neighborhood and leaving the people who are there paying taxes, trying to raise their children, trying to live their lives, hostages to the behavior of these mostly white addicts living on the streets in their neighborhood. The cops don't do anything to them. And so when you look at how our lives are devalued in this society, I think that is part of the underlying issue in terms of this gun violence. The other thing that I think is this, that we have in our community really lost some of the values that allowed us to get through tragedies. I'm not saying we need to go backwards. I'm not saying we need to go back to doing things the way we used to do. We need to go back to the old. No, I'm always about moving forward. But we need to be moving forward with a sense of morality, moving forward with a sense of this is what you do and this is what you don't do, moving forward with elders actually teaching young people and young people actually teaching older people like us, working together to make our community better. We have adopted some values that aren't our own. This whole pull yourself up by your bootstraps thing, that's not us. We work together, right? Whenever we succeed, it's because we've worked together. But we're in this rugged individualism thing that really is not an African or African-American value. It's not. It's never about the individual. It's about the collective in our community. But we've lost some of that. And we are now getting our values not from our parents, not from our elders, not from our old heads. We're getting our values from video games. We're getting our values from music. We're getting our values from stuff that really is not of us. And so that's what's going on with the shooting, and you can't police your way out of that because that is an internal issue. And until we understand that what we are engaging in is self-hate, that this hate has really been thrust upon us and we've internalized it, then we will not be able to move forward. We got to learn to love us. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are in any of these things we are talking about on this morning's show. We are going to go to break, and on the other side, we're going to talk with Dr. Elena McDonald and Dr. Delana Wardlaw about what's going on with this virus. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Family Therapy Vignette Moments with Dr. Lucille Ijoy.
When the coronavirus is over, what will you have to show for it? A cleaner home, yoga lessons you took online, old pictures of family members, a body a little bigger and heavier, too many refrigerator trips, eating too much, sad memories of family and friends who died or new babies born, talking on Zoom or other platforms with friends and clients or my new job. Learn to stop rushing here and there. Just start talking and playing with your folks. Maybe you got pregnant physically or pregnant with new ideas. May God bless you with peace for great living. Coronavirus is almost over. Folks, what will you have to show for it?
Support independent black media and join the Forward movement now at 215-425-7875 or visit wordradio.com.
Warning. If you're drowning in debt you can't afford, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to pay it all back, because you don't. What the credit card companies don't want you to know is that there's actually a way to get debt-free without paying off your entire debt or going bankrupt. If you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt, you have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. For free information, call Credit Associates now. 1-800-965-5269. We'll even show you how much money you could save. If you can't afford to pay off all your debt, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to. Call Credit Associates for free information on how to get debt-free faster than you ever thought possible, without debt consolidation or bankruptcy. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk to call. For free information, call now. 1-800-965-5269. That's 1-800-965-5269. 1-800-965-5269.
Now, a traffic update on Word Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Mattress Firm. Southbound 95, you're jammed up through construction, Cottman down through Bridge, down to 3 lanes for a long-term project. Once you pass that, you're slow again, Allegheny through Girard, northbound 95, no issues there. Vine Expressway and the Schuylkill Expressway looking pretty good in Philadelphia. Now, we do have an issue in Lower Marion Township. It's on Route 23 between Mill Creek Road, Youngsford Road. You're going to find that block, fallen tree, down power lines from yesterday's storms. So do watch for closures there. In New Jersey, 55 northbound, that jams Deptford into 42. And Evesham 73 both ways near Brick Road. Down wires there again from yesterday's storms. During the Mattress Firm 4th of July sale, get a king bed for a queen price or a queen for a twin price for a savings of up to $500. Plus, get a free adjustable base with a purchase of $699. For more traffic information, log on to SIGAlert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Back by popular demand. It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Good
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. Joining us now is Dr. Elena McDonald, along with her sister, Dr. Delana Wardlaw. They are certified, board-certified physicians, and they join us this morning on WURD. Doctors, good morning.
Good morning, Solomon.
How are you both?
We're good.
Doing well.
Thank you for having us.
That's good. It's a pleasure. So, Dr. McDonald, I'm going to start with you. We have just surpassed 131 deaths in the United States from the novel coronavirus. It is spiking in many states around the country, including Texas. Why is it spiking in the way that it is?
Solomon, we are simply moving too fast. You know, as I always say, one thing we know about coronavirus, the only thing that's certain is uncertainty. So we tried some things. Some states try to open up, you know, a little earlier, and we're starting to see the fallout from that. And the direct fallout is coming from, even though the states tried to open a limited capacity, people are not following the individual rules that we need people to follow. We still need you to wear your mask. You must wear your mask when you leave out the house, and you have to practice social distancing. If you look at all the scenes from the last weekend was a holiday weekend, and despite the concerns and despite the warnings, the beaches that were open were completely packed. There's just too many people too close together, and this virus is just spreading rapidly. Just the numbers itself from last week in the United States, in 1 week, 300,000 new cases in 1 week in the United States. In Pennsylvania, our cases are almost up close to 4,000. And in Philadelphia, we had almost 200 new cases. So if we're seeing the numbers continue to spike like this, we have to make adjustments again, which is why Philadelphia made their adjustment and said, okay, you cannot eat inside.
Yeah. So 131,000 deaths nationwide. Cases spiking in many places. Dr. Wardlaw, what kind of behavior are we seeing as we look at how people are responding to this virus?
Well, we see some people doing as much as they can, following the rules as diligently as possible. And then we see others who are not being as responsible because they think they're not going to be as affected. And we are starting to see a younger population starting to be affected. And again, what we said a couple of weeks ago could be very well obsolete this week, and that is starting to show. The younger people are starting to be more affected by this virus. So we know that over there in Texas, most of the cases are younger people. They are the average age of the coronavirus is less than 15 years of what we thought initially. So a lot of 20-year-olds are being infected with this virus. A lot of it is thought to be due to parties, hanging out, social gatherings. So people have got to be serious about this. People have got to realize that everyone can be affected. Everyone can be affected by the coronavirus. Now, those who have other underlying conditions that we've talked about in the past are at higher risk for complications and for death, but everybody is at risk. We have a 21-year-old who just passed away, a Penn State student who just passed away. So we have to realize that everything that we put in place to try to slow the virus, again, restrictions are being lifted, but we still have to stay vigilant because we are starting to see the backlash in huge numbers, and we have got to follow the rules. It's just that simple. We have to follow the rules. Everyone can be affected, and summer is here. People want to travel. If you're in Pennsylvania, you know, there's this 15-state ban. People need to be aware of that. I'm not going to list all 15 states, Solomon, but people need to be aware that if you travel to certain states from Pennsylvania to certain states, you have to self-quarantine. There was an outbreak that was connected in Myrtle Beach where over 50 people in Bucks County traveled to Myrtle Beach, and they came back and brought it back to Bucks County. So people have got to be aware of the hot spots of what's going on and just be responsible. And we really just have to behave as if everybody could potentially have coronavirus. So we all have to be diligent here.
We're talking with Dr. Delana Wardlaw, who you just heard, and Dr. Elena McDonald about about what's happening with the novel coronavirus or COVID-19. Dr. McDonald, as we move around in Pennsylvania, move around in Philadelphia, and things begin to open, one of the things you said was that we are moving too quickly from a medical standpoint, given that this virus is not going away and in some places is getting worse. What should we be doing from a medical standpoint in terms of reopening and trying to get back to where we were before this virus hit?
So it's a delicate balance, and the question is where does that balance come in at? And we know that we're trying to move forward to some sense of normalcy, but we know we're not living in a new normalcy. But as we try to slowly open up, camps are opening up. We're looking to try to open up schools in a couple of months, restaurants, gyms, libraries. We have to stay vigilant, as Dr. Wardlaw said, about the rules. You can't, when you go into the supermarket, put your mask on. Even if there's no one at the door telling you need to put your mask on, you know that's what you should be doing. If if you are somewhere, try to practice the social distancing. The only way that this works is if everybody does their individual part. But again, as you always say, we have to be ready to be flexible and make adjustments. And if things are not going in the direction that we expect them to go into, we need to make that adjustment. No one can continue to say, well, I didn't know, no one told me. COVID-19 has been the top of the news cycle for the last 4 months. Everyone should know what's going on, and everyone should know the basic rules of how to stay safe, not only to protect yourself, but to protect everyone around you. We are all in this together, and everyone has to do their individual part to try to prevent this virus from spreading.
Dr. Wardlaw, one of the things that people are fighting over, it's almost become like a political issue, is the wearing of masks. Do the masks do harm to people when they wear them?
No, Solomon. You have to make sure that you have a mask that's appropriately fitting. You want to make sure that it's not too tight, so it's not causing you to feel like you can't breathe. And you want to make sure that it's not too loose so that it doesn't fall down. The purpose is to protect your nose, to cover your nose and your mouth so that if you sneeze, cough, talk loudly, sing, if you pass some droplets that could potentially have coronavirus, then they won't spread to another person. So the mask protects the person. The mask that you're wearing protects other people, and the mask that people are wearing protects you. It does not cause you to not be able to get oxygen into your body. It does not cause you to be able to prevent you from breathing out carbon dioxide out of your body, which is what happens when we normally breathe. So the mask is not harmful to you in any way. Make sure you wear it appropriately. Again, make sure it's not too tight-fitting. And the mask has not been shown to cause any damage or any harm. We have medical personnel wear masks for 8 to 12 hours a day. Mm-hmm. I mean, people complain about the mask, and I understand it's getting hot and it's getting uncomfortable, but this is necessary. Mm-hmm. It is, I could see if they was asking everybody to wear an N95 and wear a shield and wear a hood over top of your head as well to cover everything. It's as simple as a mask, and you wear the mask. Wear one that is comfortable for you. It's not going to cause any medical problems, but we have to be diligent about this. It has shown with the mask, the social distancing, frequent hand washing have shown to slow the spread of this virus, and we just have to do it. It's no question about it. We just have to do it.
And if I can just add to Dr. Wardlaw, Solomon, mm-hmm. and if you're out, people ask questions about exercising and things like that. If you're out and about, it's getting really hot and you feel like you're having some difficulty breathing, okay, step away as far as you can, pull your mask down for a few seconds, readjust, the mask has to go back up. What we cannot do is look for constant excuses as to why we cannot wear the mask. Because as we've heard in the past, you can wear the mask or you can wear the ventilator. And I don't think you want to wear the ventilator.
That's Dr. Elena McDonald and, of course, Dr. Delana Wardlaw. Are you guys still doing testing out in the community?
Well, Dr. McDonald and I, we have returned back to our offices. Mm-hmm. So we have not been out testing because we have got to get our offices back on track. So,
right.
But testing is still going on, but we're back in our offices.
Okay. All right. Well, how can people, Dr. Wardlaw, how can people reach the two of you?
You can reach us at Twin Sister Docs on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
All right. That's Twin Sister Docs on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Dr. Delana Wardlaw, Dr. Elena McDonald, I want to thank both of you for joining us this morning on WURD.
Thank you for having us, Solomon.
All right.
Thank you, Kalisha.
All right. We'll talk to y'all soon. So that's, of course, Dr. Elena McDonald, Dr. Delana Wardlaw, Twin Sister Docs on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So you can check them out there. And we want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. I keep hearing from all kinds of folks about, I don't want to wear no mask, the mask. Boy, you better put that mask on. That's what they say. Look, you can either wear the mask or you can wear the ventilator. That's the question. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on any of these things we are talking about on this morning's show. 215-634-8065. Of course, you can also weigh in on Facebook at FORWURD. That's FORWURD. Kuwaisa, what are they saying this morning on Facebook?
Sorry, I was just taking a couple screenshots here. So, yeah, we actually do have quite a few comments. Linda Pierce, in regards to Cosby, saying Cosby was all the way wrong, yet I believe the women should be held accountable as well. Cosby's been married to Camille since before I was born, and I'm up there. These women are willingly going to these men's houses and expecting to come up eventually, and when they don't get their way, here comes the lawsuits, and I think the system is unfair. But since we know this as African Americans, we have to keep our behavior intact. So I kind of agree, and I think that we have to be very careful about, holding people accountable for being raped. It's a very slippery slope when we start saying things like that. And then also, I think that there's plenty of women who will sleep with you without you drugging them. Anyway, Eric Deloach says, you're right, we can't police police our way out of it. That's why we need community groups like Black Lives Matter to march in the neighborhood where this is happening, that we don't hear about, that we don't see, that needs to be known, so we police our own. And then also, I think I saw Mary Melly Briggs says, these groupies, I could use another word, but I'll be nice, are placed around these black athletes and entertainers in majority of the events they attend. These gold diggers still have the right to be able to say no and not be drugged. So I agree with you. Diane Gray, well-spoken, Solomon, it does begin with us. That's just in reference to your comments earlier. Michelle Renee Griffin says, where are the guns coming from is the question. Most of these guys never leave their neighborhoods. What is needed is more gun safety classes starting in grade school. And lastly, I'll read Muriel Revere Taylor, Solomon, when black men and women that's doing nothing in their communities call the show, saying that stuff, please hang up. Oh, I get it. Okay. Your regular listeners are trying to be proactive in our communities and make positive changes. We don't need that bull. So that was another comment that I saw here as well.
Yeah. So tonight, of course, at 6 o'clock, we're going to be doing our Man Up PHL online mentoring session, and we're going to have a retired police officer who's going to be joining us, and we're going to be talking about these shootings and what is happening and what we can do about it. And so I encourage you to join us tonight at 6 o'clock. You can go to Man Up PHL on Facebook Live to check that out, because there is so much that's going on, and the one thing that we don't want to do is ignore it. The one thing we don't want to do is not speak up about it. The one thing that we don't want to do is pretend that it's not happening. And so we're going to be talking about that this evening at 6 o'clock on Man Up PHL on Facebook Live. And so that is what we're doing about it. That and really stepping into the lives of brothers, man, one life at a time. So give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Check out the Source lineup on Word Radio. Mondays, get ready for the rapping professor, Dr. Aaron Smith. On Tuesdays, it's Andrea Lawful Sanders. Then on Wednesdays, it's the Black Women's Leadership Council. On Thursdays, it's a second helping of Andrea Lawful Sanders. And on Fridays, it's Tiffany Bacon. Don't miss the Source. Monday through Thursday, 1 p.m. till 4 p.m. and Fridays, 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. Exclusively on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on wordradio.com and on the Word Radio app.
Do you need health insurance for your children? The Children's Health Insurance Program, also known as CHIP, provides quality, affordable health insurance for Pennsylvania kids. CHIP ensures that kids can go to the doctor, receive health screenings and vaccines, and get what they need to live a healthy childhood. Families can be covered by CHIP no matter how much money they make. If you've experienced a recent change in employment or income, CHIP may be a good option for your family. Visit chipcoverspakids.com to apply or learn more.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Dietz & Watson has been making premium meats and artisan cheeses for over 80 years. And when it comes to stacking sandwiches and party platters, they've got something for everyone in the family, like maple honey turkey breast, American cheese, buffalo chicken, and more. So get to your local deli and taste 4 generations of family recipes. With Dietz & Watson on the table, you'll have everyone coming back for seconds and thirds. Dietz & Watson, it's a family thing since 1939.
Now, a traffic update on Word Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Mattress Firm. Southbound 95, you're jammed up through construction, Cottman down through Bridge, down to 3 lanes for a long-term project. Once you pass that, you're slow again, Allegheny through Girard, northbound 95, no issues there. Vine Expressway and the Schuylkill Expressway looking pretty good in Philadelphia. Now, we do have an issue, Lower Marion Township. It's on Route 23 between Mill Creek Road, Youngsford Road. You're going to find that block, fallen tree and down power lines from yesterday's storms. So do watch for closures there. In New Jersey, 55 northbound, that jams Deptford into 42. And Evesham 73 both ways near Brick Road. Down wires there again from yesterday's storms. During the Mattress Firm 4th of July sale, get a king bed for a queen price or a queen for a twin price for a savings of up to $500. Plus, get a free adjustable base with a purchase of $699. For more traffic information, log on to SignAlert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. We are talking about a number of things on this morning's show. Of course, the shootings that have happened in Philadelphia, especially over the course of the July 4th weekend, just completely unacceptable. We're going to be talking about that tonight on Man Up PHL at 6 p.m. on our online mentoring session, but we want to talk about it now as well. What do we need to do? One person called and suggested that we have more cops flood into these neighborhoods where that's happening. That's a Band-Aid, in my view. And when I look historically at what's happened when we've asked for more cops, it has never been anything that has been to our benefit. And so I believe that the answer has to come from us. I believe that the answer is internal. I believe that it is about us learning to love ourselves and therefore love each other. It's about us rejecting this internalized racism that has convinced us that other black people's lives aren't valuable. Right? Because that's the message we get from the cradle to the grave, that black life is less valuable than white life, that black people are less beautiful than white people, that black people are worth less than white people. We get that message everywhere. We get it in advertisement. We get it on television. We get it on radio. We get it in film. We get it on the internet. We get it on our phones. We get it on our computers. We get it everywhere that we look. The white person is in front. The black person is in the back. The horror movie, the black person dies first. Like, I mean, it's just all kinds of stuff. These subliminal messages that we get all of the time and everywhere that we go. Is it any wonder that we do not value ourselves in the way that we should? I think we've internalized America's racism, that we literally hate ourselves. You know, the Bible says, does a man hate his own flesh? And sometimes when I look at black people, I got to wonder, do we? Because if we didn't, why would we kill the very image of ourselves? I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Story number one that we're talking about today, Karen goes to court. That's right, the white woman who called the cops on a black man who was bird watching in Central Park will be prosecuted. That's according to the Manhattan DA. And in Indiana, authorities are investigating a report by a black man who said he was pinned to a tree by a group of white men, an attack he likened to an attempted lynching. And then, of course, story number three, Bill Cosby convicted of sexual assault in 2018 as the Me Too movement exploded. He's serving up to 10 years, but now in the midst of another historic movement, this time addressing the treatment of African Americans by police and the criminal justice system, the 82-year-old Cosby has won the right to an appeal. I want to know what you think about that. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Going to go to the phone lines. Jerry from West Philly is on line one. Go ahead, Jerry.
I always got to follow you after you start preaching. Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
I have to go the other way because my mind started out about Bill Cosby, okay?
Okay.
One thing that is so true when they say when you dig a ditch for one, you dig one for yourself. And after Bill Cosby, you notice how everything, they came up with Weinstein and all that kind of stuff. I did not like what he did to these women. But one thing Bill Cosby did not do was listen to his wife and keep his mouth shut, because I know as an African-American woman, she told him not to say anything about buying the TV. He should have went, just like Oprah did, took her money and started her own TV show. He could have did the same thing. But a lot of times, African-American men, because he drugged them women and stuff, he was probably arrogant and figured, I'm going to do it my way. Yes, the documents were sealed. The DA went after him along with the judge. Anytime that they take and move it from Philadelphia to somewhere else, they're going to do a lynching, get him, or either, come off, if he was a cop, let him get off. But anytime they move a case somewhere else, that's not a good thing. And I believe it because he was a black man. The young men the young people that are getting killed, they're killing our children. And we need to, I do believe that, like you said, we got to learn to love ourselves. Because I always say, how are we going to tell people Black Lives Matter and we're killing each other? And now it's our children. And a lot of people got guns in their house to protect themselves, but unfortunately it's being used on them. Okay?
Yeah, I hear you, Jerry. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WRD. We got a full bank of calls. We got to get through them. Let's go to Yada from West Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Yada.
Yes, good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
Queen. I'm on the way in on the Cosby issue.
Okay.
Back in, I think the 70s, 80s, well, in the 80s I read this book called Story of O, and it was about a culture, a particular culture that existed. And if your listeners get a chance to just read that book, because I don't want to go into the depths of it. So based on that book, I want to warn or put out for our future entertainers. Read that book first before you get into any underground cult or an underground.
If you're not telling us what you're talking about, bro, I mean, it's like what you're saying is like real mistake. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay. me slow down. The book highlighted the underground cult of sex trafficking, and
okay.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
Okay.
So you know that these women willingly entered a cult of getting into the highlight of the
okay, so you're saying that book is like a warning not to get into sex cults.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, and the other point I want to say,
sure,
that based on that, what a 15-year-old would be doing in the Playboy Mansion, because that was part of I understand something that came out in the Cosby case.
Mm-hmm.
So based on that, a 15-year-old and Hefner and them have never been questioned about that. So that shows you how that cult was, that even parents, of the elite and the socialites, where you groom their children and bring them into that cult.
Okay. All right. Brother Yada, I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. If you want to get in, it is 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Wendy from South Carolina is on line 4. Go ahead, Wendy.
Yes, I'd just like to say I love what you're saying about African Americans, what we need to do.
Thank you.
As far as we develop a self-hate among us. And I just remember back in the day, especially rap music and the music of back in the day, it was about respect. It was about consciousness. The goal was to not sell out. And now the goal is to sell out your people. You know what I mean? And my thing is, too, we live in a time, even though we control the narrative on movies and in music, we're not responsible with our image. We're not even responsible with our image. You hear what I'm saying? As far as movies, as far as TV, do you know the amount of African Americans who went to college because of Bill Cosby? Because they saw Denise Huxtable go to college. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's how powerful our image is to us. It's not even about what our image means to someone else. It's what it means to us.
Yeah.
And we ourselves sabotage ourselves by the music that's become garbage. It's garbage. Our music is garbage now. And not only that, the idea that somehow fatherhood isn't important.
Yeah.
The idea that being a father isn't important. That's where your backbone comes from a son. Your backbone comes from your father being in your life. And somehow we've gotten away from the tradition of, fatherhood is the most important thing. Now, don't get me wrong. we all need our mothers in our lives. That's a given because we need nurturing. But your father is one of the most important things that a black male needs in his life.
Yeah, I hear you, and I want to thank you so much, Wendy, for your call this morning on WURD. She said a mouthful. There's a whole lot that I think we need to really embrace. But the first thing that we have to embrace in our community, man, is loving ourselves. Because when you love yourself, it's easier to love somebody else. If I don't love me, how I'm going to love you? If I hate me, right? If I don't think I'm good enough, if I don't think I'm valuable, if I don't think my life matters, then what I care about you? You understand what I'm saying? So, the first thing that we have to do, and it's a simple thing, man. It sounds simple, right? Is learn to love us. Because if I love me, then guess what? I'm not going to harm me. And if you are me, I'm not going to harm you. Right? Not for nothing. And too much of this stuff is happening over nothing. It's like sometimes, I'll have an argument with my wife, right? And I'm like, okay, now you hollering at me about this, or I'm hollering at you about this. What am I really angry about? Right? It might not be the thing that the argument seems to be about. Really, it's an underlying issue that I'm angry about. or that she's angry about. And so we are arguing around these other things that really have nothing to do with the real reason that we're angry. What I'm saying to you is this, that when you see somebody kill somebody because they stepped on their sneaker, when you see somebody kill somebody because they felt like they said something disrespectful to them, when you see somebody kill somebody over virtually nothing, that's not really what they're angry about. They might be angry because their mother didn't love them. They might be angry because they don't know who their father is. They might be angry because they don't have any heat or any food or any water in the house. They might be angry because of the conditions of their life. And that person stepping on their sneaker, or that person saying something disrespectful, or that person doing something petty set off all of the other things that they're angry about. And so what we have to do is really deal with those underlying issues in our community. So when Wendy talks about fatherhood, fatherhood is important. And black fathers spend a lot of time with their kids, right? We need to do more. We need to do more, right? We might need to consider marriage. We might need to consider being in the same home. We might want to consider that even if you feel like this is something we need to break up about, if you love each other, work it out, stay together, figure it out, because your kids are going to benefit from that. Real talk. So, you know, this whole thing around the gun violence and the murder and all of that, it's not really about what people will present to you. Well, I shot him because he stepped on my sneaker. I shot him because he disrespected me. I shot him because we wanted the same corner. No, you shot him because you hate yourself. We need to deal with those issues. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are in these various things we are talking about on this morning show. Let's go to Rita. Rita from South Philly's on line 3. Go ahead, Rita.
Good morning, Sal.
Good morning.
Well, when you take a system and eliminate the fathers for 40 years, and the father to the child's welfare check to the mother, because remember, the father couldn't be in the household if he got the welfare check. And then you have 40 years of dismay and despair, and you think you're going to fix it and patch it up right away? Don't work that way.
But everybody's not on welfare.
No, but a big
everybody. See, everybody not on welfare. I think that's, you know, part of the issue is that we make these assumptions about our community as if everybody is in that system and everybody's not.
No. There's another thing. How many women out there don't know who the father's baby is? You can't say nothing about it, but I can. I'm a woman. It's a disgrace. And then when they put it on the television, remember what's that man's name?
Maury. You talking about Maury?
I used to cry, Solomon, because I used to say, you don't do this in public. That's a private thing.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Solomon, here's what got Cosby in trouble.
Okay.
Is when he messed with that gay girl. Remember that one from Temple, and she said that she didn't want no man to put their hands on her? That's where he got himself in trouble. It had nothing to do with no television. Then, when Obama got into it. So the lawyer called me, took me to dinner. He said, how did you know? I said, when he messed with that gay girl, that was it for him, honey. You don't mess with them.
What lawyer?
Well, what happened was, and I told him, I said, if I'm going to get involved with this because that gay girl, they didn't believe me. Then when they saw him on television, and he talked about rapists raping the Cosby case. Now, there's all these cases out here. Go back and look at your tapes. He talked about specifically the Cosby case in the White House. They had a conference up there. Okay?
They had a Cosby case in the White House?
No. Obama was talking about the Cosby case.
Oh, Obama was talking about the Cosby case.
Exactly. And then the lawyer said, well, how did you? I said, I told you when he messed with that gay girl, he was going to get into it. And they couldn't just believe. And then they had to believe it because they saw it in front of them. But she said specifically, I don't want no man to put their hands on me. I said, I don't blame you. But let me say this. He was wrong. You don't have to rape anybody. Cosby could have went out there and got any woman he wanted to. You understand what I'm saying? He was wrong, but the man is old. He has to give an account to the Creator. Nobody gets away. There's all written down what he did and more, okay? But I think the man is blind. And if you let me, I just read 3-4 stories about criminals that were hardened criminals that they let out of jail and they done went, killed people, did everything else. So why can't you let this blind man out? What's the problem with that, Simon? Do you think he's going to do anything now? The man is ready to meet his maker soon. Nobody knows when, but you understand what I'm saying?
I do. I hear you, Rita, and I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on any of these things we're talking about on this morning show, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Let's go to Madeline Dunn from Overbrook on line 1. Good morning.
Morning. Thanks for taking the call.
You're welcome.
I've been talking about this for the last year in particular, and then God really got in my spirit and we ought to be nursing our babies, breastfeeding our babies, so they feel the love, so they feel the compassion, and they learn what intimacy is, and then they learn some other things. If we can get mothers to do that, this is one of the major things. This form of slavery here in America is different than all over the world. There's always been slavery. The strong always overpowered the weak, and blah, 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 blah. However, coming to America, they were put on slave ships. From this village, everybody went on a different ship. No two people on the same ship, so you couldn't have a conversation. You came over here with people you didn't know, and you had to learn to get along with them. Not only that, you lived through some of the most unhuman getting here, the kind of things that went on, and people do us any way they want to. And then when we got here, even the people who said they was Christians, they weren't Christians. They just took advantage of opportunities, and somehow the inhumanness in some of them, I don't know whether it was living in the caves of Europe or what, created such barbaric people, but they were. And then they call us the barbarians. And the Indians, everybody that they called something, really, they were speaking about themselves. And as we go along here, my worst part about it is it seems to me that we're still carrying this stuff of how we speak to each other, how we disrespect, how we carry. Excuse me. Wow, I've been waiting about an hour to get on it now.
Well, we want to thank you for your call, Ms. Dunn. We got to go to break, and thank you so much. We appreciate it. But we are going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to continue the show. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Start your day with Daybreak. Hosted by Helana. Weekdays 6 a.m. till 7 a.m. Exclusively on Word Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live at wordradio.com and on the Word Radio app.
Pico has many ways to help you lower your energy usage and save money at home. Here's one. Have an old working fridge or freezer in your garage or basement? Pico will pick it up, dispose of it responsibly, and give you a $75 rebate. That's right, $75. Plus, you can save as much as $150 a year on your energy bill by getting rid of it. Just schedule your pickup at pico.com/recycling or call 1-888-5-PICO-SAVE today. Be sure your fridge or freezer is plugged in and working at time of pickup.
This is Word Radio, independent black media. Now, a traffic update on Word Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Mattress Firm. Southbound 95 is a little bit busy from Cottman Avenue down through Bridge. You have the ongoing construction there down to 3 lanes. Long-term project south of that. Heavy Betsy Ross down through Girard, northbound side. Traffic jam now Bridge up to Cottman Avenue. Police activity there, the reason. Westbound Vine, Broad out through the Schuylkill, a bit slow. Schuylkill eastbound, the lane Montgomery through Spring Garden. Westbound, not too bad. 55 northbound, Deptford in the 42, still a bit busy. During the Mattress Firm 4th of July sale, get a king bed for a queen price or a queen for a twin price for savings of up to $500. Plus, get a free adjustable base with a purchase of $699. For more traffic information, log on to SIGAlert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. And let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning's show. Of course, we're talking about the shootings that are happening in our community. We have to talk about that. We have to talk about solutions for that. When I look at what's happening in our community, I see people who don't love themselves and don't care about what happens to them or to you. And that goes to many underlying issues, including how we are raised, who is raising us, how they are loving us, how they are speaking to us. When I see sisters talking to their children like they're their worst enemy, it hurts me. When I see sisters cursing their children out, it hurts me. When I see brothers riding in cars with the vilest lyrics playing on their stereo as their children sit there absorbing that, it hurts me. Because children are sponges, right? And so if your mother is saying to you, F that, F you, MF that, MF, you know, if your mother is saying these things to you with hate in her heart, then what are you going to give to other people? You get what you give. You understand? And so, you know, when a kid is sitting there absorbing these vile pornographic lyrics that you're blasting in your car with your kid sitting in the car seat, what do you think the kid is going to do? How do you think that kid is going to act? How do you think they're going to live? Right? And so many of the things that our children, that our young people are dealing with, it starts at home. What are they getting from their parents? Real rap. What are they getting? Because whatever they're getting, guess what? That's what they're going to give. That's part of it. The other part is that our lives are devalued in this society. From the cradle to the grave, we get the message that white is more important, that white is better, that white is superior. That's what we get from the cradle to the grave in every single matter of communication that we can get it, on computers, on our phones, on the internet, on social media, on television, in movies, in magazines, in newspapers, in every single medium that we can get it. We get the message that white is better. And so you have that. And so is it any wonder that we see young people who are so inundated with hate that they would kill somebody for the slightest infraction? We got to learn to love ourselves. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. So we're talking about that, and of course, talking about our top 3 stories, which include story number 1, Karen goes to court. That's right, the white woman who called cops on a black man who was bird watching in Central Park will be prosecuted, the Manhattan District Attorney said on Monday. Story number 2, in Indiana, authorities investigating a report by a black man who said he was pinned to a tree by a group of white men, an attack he likened to an attempted lynching. And no, he's not lying. It is on video. Story number 3, Bill Cosby convicted of sexual assault in 2018 during the Me Too movement, but now during this newest movement about race and policing and the criminal justice system. The 82-year-old Cosby has won the right to an appeal. I want to hear from you. 215-634-8065 is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation. Let's go to the phone lines and talk with Derek from North Philly on line 4. Go ahead, Derek.
Good morning, Brother Solomon. Love, peace, blessings, prosperity.
Good morning. Same to you.
Solomon, thank you. I appreciated the last call. I think her name was Miss Dunn.
Yes.
The things that she was saying, it really touched my heart. And the things that you're saying is touching my heart as well as far as solutions. And as we as people here in America who were enslaved, there's a lot of dismay and animosity towards us because we were forced into a system that hated us and just wanted to use us. And then on top of that corrupt system, some of us were made out of that system. What I mean is that some of the slave masters impregnated some of their slaves, and they produced a child that they called mulatto. And with this mulatto child being partially Caucasian in race as well, the master sort of favored that one, and so that one was able to be freed by his master if the master died. So in the
sometimes they wouldn't free them either.
Right. Sometimes, but this hatred is coming from us from a history, which I'm trying to explain, because history, according to the federal census, is documented that there were black slave owners as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a hatred in ourselves because, as you were speaking earlier, have we become what we say we hated? Are we a part of the system? And I just wanted to call in to say today, yes, it's part of the history as well, because some of us were able to own each other, and what maybe is, in some cases, even more difficult than the slave master they were running from. So there's a history towards our hate. So now that being said, as when I began, I said love, peace, blessing, and prosperity. This is what we have to learn, to love each other as a people and then the rest of humanity. So, yes, we have to learn each other, and we have to learn the history of ourselves. So maybe where some of this hatred is coming from. It's coming from both sides.
All right. I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD. I was with you right up until the end. 215-634-8065. Even though I kind of understand that, I think that we have internalized this hatred for blackness. I think that we have internalized racism. I think that we have embraced the idea that black life is less valuable. And so that is why you have people who would try to paint over Black Lives Matter when it's written in the street, right? In Martinez, California. That's why right here in Philadelphia, you would have a white man who worked for the city, right? Snatching down Black Lives Matter signs. And then when somebody says to him, Black Lives Matter, he says, not to me, they don't. Right? The very statement, Black Lives Matter, threatens the structure of the United States. The very statement, Black Lives Matter, is the statement that really we need to be embracing across the board for ourselves. So that we understand that, maybe my mother didn't love me the way that I wanted her to. Maybe my father wasn't there as much as I wanted him to be. Maybe I didn't get the love that I thought I should have gotten. Maybe they passed me from foster home to foster home. Maybe I heard hate when I was coming up. But you know what? My life still matters. Sometimes you got to learn how to love yourself no matter what you've gotten from other people. Because if you don't, hurt people hurt people. If you don't, you're going to hurt yourself and hurt others. And I think that's part of what we're seeing in our community. We're seeing people who have no idea what love is. And so not only do I not love myself, I can't love you because I don't know what it is. I've never experienced it. And so I can pull this trigger without any compunction, without any hesitation, because I don't love me. That's what's going on. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things that we are talking about on this morning show. 215-634-8065 is the number that you can call. You can, of course, also weigh in on Facebook at onWURD. I'm going to go to the phone lines, and we're going to talk with Sheila from Overbrook on line 2. Go ahead, Sheila.
Good morning. So, Mr. Cooper, the bird watcher.
Yes.
I saw the video on YouTube when Biden called him, and they had like an in-depth conversation. Did you see it?
No.
It's a very, very good video. If you have a chance, just go to YouTube. Go to YouTube, and they talk about just life. The two of them, like you wouldn't even know that it was the vice president and Mr. Cooper. But they were just talking about things, and he was talking about his children who died, and Mr. Cooper was talking about his parents, and they were talking about birds. It's really a nice video.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that I wanted to talk about quickly was Dwight Evans. I want to give a big shout-out to him because I'm not, like, a big fan, but that bill he got passed concerning the schools is humongous. Like, he really pulled something off. And finally, Solomon, I'd like to say, concerning gun violence in our community, I hold Josh Shapiro, like, seriously in fault of this. Got an email the other day from his campaign manager asking me if I was going to vote for him. And I gave him a fairly in-depth explanation of why I will not. And it had to do with the amount of guns, the influx of illegal guns into our community. And I believe that if you have 18, 19, 15, 17, 21, 25 that are from that environment that we've been talking about this morning, and you give them a gun, they'll shoot anybody. I don't, honestly, Solomon, I don't think it has to do with drugs, herbs. I don't think it's when you put guns in the hand of children, of young people, and they don't have anything else to do, and they don't have any hope, and they can go out and buy a gun for X amount of money, they're going to shoot it. It's just not that serious to them. But Josh Shapiro has got to do something about these guns that are coming into our community. Have a good rest of your week.
All right. Thank you for your call this morning on WURD. If you want to get in, it's 215-634-8065. Gary from Southwest is on line 3. Go ahead, Gary.
Hey, good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
We're talking about the violence in our community. It's definitely a problem, but we got to go back to the source. Hurt people hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
Slavery was one of the most cruel institution I can think of.
Mm-hmm.
And to come back and blame the victim, yes, we all make choices, and I understand that. But the way this system works, we had the crack cocaine era. You destroyed families.
Yep.
Hurt people. Our people are hurting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say, I don't see a lot of solutions by our government or our so-called leaders trying to deal with this particular issue, or at least having an honest dialogue to tell the truth. When you have families that children don't even know who their mother and fathers are, then you have people in the entertainment field, I'm going to say, that make this music that look like me and you to make money. That's subliminal brainwashing, and our young people are hearing this. Then they're seeing these videos like BET is the worst. I mean, some of the stuff that's on there that they're putting on the screen, these young people are watching that every day, all day. So we've got to do better, Solomon. You know, I thank God for bringing me where I am today, because I could tell a story about my childhood. I should be somewhere else.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't necessarily is not necessarily able to jump over that hurdle.
Right.
So, you know,
Right.
I have so much compassion for our people. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. I appreciate your call this morning on WURD. Let's go to Benjamin from Camden on line 4. Go ahead, Benjamin.
Yeah, good morning, Solomon. Thank
morning,
you
sir.
for the wisdom you partake. I want to be like Solomon Jones when I grow up.
Thank you, sir.
Martin Luther King once said the whirlwinds of revolt will continue to shake the foundation of America to the bright day of justice emerges. And I believe it will emerge as we see the Black Lives Matter movement continue. And I think that we'll see justice continue to roll down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream as we see victory is being won. This woman is going to jail. And on Bill Cosby, I think that was an individual decision. Bill Cosby made some mistakes. At you said the written statement he made, that was clearly he's guilty of what he did. I'm thankful for the leniency he's given. Hopefully the appeal will be successful and it being overturned. On the presence of I believe in policemen being in black community. Black policemen, brown policemen, so that our youth will see what a man in blue looks like and acts like, and I think they'll bring a certain sensitivity to our community. So I believe in the presence of black policemen in the black community. And the last point I want to say is you mentioned about we internalize the values of the society. Our black women, our successful black women, we thank God for them, but it seems like they internalize what their white counterparts do when it comes to babies. Black babies matter, and these babies are being destroyed. That's not being discussed on our talk shows. The black babies are being destroyed.
But you know what? And I want to thank you for your call. I think that, you know, we talk about abortion, right? But we don't talk about what happens with the life of that child when the child is born. Right. So I think that if we really care about life and if we are really pro-life, then certainly we need to talk about that, about the issue of abortion. But we also need to talk about what happens with the child when they have it. Right. So if we care that much about life, then when that woman has that baby that maybe she can't afford to take care of, maybe she has no help, maybe she has no support, maybe she has no system that is going to help her to raise that child, then all the people that are pro-life, right, what are y'all going to do to help her? I'm just saying, what are y'all going to do to help her to raise somebody who is actually going to be productive, somebody who is not going to go out and kill people, who's not going to go out and harm people, who's not going to have a life that is filled with despair? Like, what are we, if we so pro-life, right, what are we going to do to help that child once that child is born? See, because there's a difference between being pro-birth and pro-life. If you just pro-birth, all you worry about, have the baby, and then it's on you after that. No. If you're pro-life, in my view, right, you're actually going to help that woman that might not be able to afford to do what needs to be done for that child, who might not have the emotional capacity to give that child the love and nurturing that they deserve and that they need in order to be successful. Like, I just think that we have to talk about the whole life, not just the birth, but the whole life, if we really are talking about being pro-life. I'm Solomon Jones. This is WRD. We'll be right back.
Emerge is a public service announcement campaign produced by Mural Arts Philadelphia and sponsored by the City of Philadelphia to inspire our community to emerge resilient and hopeful in the face of COVID-19 and systemic racism.
COVID-19 inside my city. First global pandemic got me feeling real. Can't even see my mama. Miss me with all this new corona drama. I want to go back to the way things were, but now the way things were seem like one big blur. Fear, panic, sadness, propaganda, yo, we need answers. Then the uprising came. Stakes is high, this ain't no game. 3 months in the crib on lock, then another killer cop took a black brother's life on video. Oh no, not again. When will it end? Knee on George Floyd's neck, the whole nation caught wreck. The people said, no more. Racism must not endure. From city to city, nobody ever said the real revolution would be pretty. When will everybody realize black lives always mattered? And anyway, COVID-19 still inside these cities. We still stood strong, though. I'm so proud of you, Philly. Mask up with your fists up, even though things got gritty. When we emerge, gonna feel like real victory.
To learn more, go to muralarts.org/emerge. How will you emerge?
Be heard.
Be heard.
Want another way to join the conversation?
Follow us on social media
Using the hashtag onWURD.
Be heard.
Stay connected to Word Radio.
Independent Black Media.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute? When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can. But it's just as important to take time for yourself. AARP can help. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You're waking up
with Word.
Hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD. Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. It's a couple of things that are going on today. One of them is a Peace Not Guns rally and march at Wharton Square Park at 24th and Wharton Streets. Councilman Kenyatta Johnson going to be out for that, so you can join them there. That is today at Wharton Square Park, and that is what's going to happen today. Please wear a mask for that. And there is also going to be a food distribution today that is taking place at St. John Memorial Baptist Church today, and that is at 2853 Germantown Avenue. So make sure you get out for that. If you need food, you can get it there at St. John Memorial Baptist Church. That is taking place today, and that's at 2853 Germantown Avenue. So we want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on any of these things we are talking about on this morning's show. And before y'all call about it, I do want to give one more piece of information. There is a number that you can call regarding that food distribution that's taking place today. That's 215-423
2221. 215-423-2221. One more time, 215-423-2221. That food distribution happening today at St. John Memorial Baptist Church at 2853 Germantown Avenue. So I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. We're talking about a number of things this morning. The gun violence happening in our community. What can we do about it? We're going to be talking about that tonight on Man Up PHL on our Facebook Live at 6 p.m. We want to talk about it now, though. I want to hear from you about that. Where is your heart on that? Also talking about Bill Cosby. He has won the right to an appeal. What do you think about that? Karen finally going to court. That's right. Amy Cooper, the white woman who called the cops on a black bird watcher because he had the temerity, the gumption, the nerve to say to her, put your dog on a leash, is going to be going to court for filing a false police report. And I think that needs to happen to all these people doing that mess, calling the cops on black people for virtually nothing. And in Indiana, a black man pinned to a tree by 5 white men who threatened to lynch him. Whole thing on videotape. Just heinous. I want to know what you think about all of that. Give us a call. 215-634-8065 is the number. I'm going to go back to the phone lines and talk with Tony from Baltimore Pike on line 1. Go ahead, Tony.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning. God bless.
See, this is my opinion and view of things. I think our history, we don't know enough of our history. More people know more about love and hip-hop than they know about who Rosa Parks is, and they ride the bus every day. Our history did not start with love and hip-hop, negative rap. Our history did not start with that. People sacrificed and gave their lives for this. They didn't sell out. They gave their lives for it. Right. But we look at all the negative and look at love and hip-hop, what they show, people calling bees and people with money pulling people's hair out. That's negativity that goes in our children's mind. And they know, and they listen to their parents talk about it. This all comes from your household. I grew up in Philly in the 70s when there was more gangs in Philly than in L.A. But you know what? If you was with your parents or you was with your kids, you got to pass. We would not jump on you. We would not shoot you. You got to pay. But see, the world today is going by all the negative images that they see. And then even in our neighborhoods, what we sacrifice for, you got to understand. We grew up in them neighborhoods. We live in them neighborhoods. We done sacrificed so much just to have certain things in them neighborhoods. But people come here that don't respect us, that they want the rights that we got. We fought for them rights. We got hung deep for them. They come and open up businesses and then just don't even respect us. Everybody come off the boat, don't even respect us as people. And, and the thing of it is they couldn't open up them stores if we didn't get beat hung. When that bathroom said whites only, it meant whites only. When that bathroom said water only white people could drink, or you only could eat in a restaurant, you can't sit at the counter, we took the beating for that. We took the hangings, the beatings. We did that. Now everybody come off the boat. They prosper off of that. They don't even respect us in our own neighborhood. You go in their store, what they tell you? Get out of my store. Chinese, Korean, whoever, Mexican, and whoever comes over here, Dominican, whoever, you go in their store on our neighborhood, we grew up in all our lives. Know what they tell us? Get out their store. And if we don't feel like we had nothing, how you going to respect yourself as a man, a human being, or anything if you feel like you had nothing? But you don't know your history. And then we got them looking at sellout people that got billions of dollars, but they ain't putting nothing in the hood that's going to make your child, like they come over here and give all their people's jobs. We can open up stuff. We got billionaires now. It ain't like back in the day when we didn't have money. We got black people that got billions of dollars now. We can open up stuff in the hood to make it feel like we have something where we don't have to go to their store. We can feel like we important. But if you don't feel like you're important, what do you got?
I hear you, Tony. I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. And I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. Lloyd from Hamilton is on line 2. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Solomon. Hello to the Word family. I just wanted to say, most people met respect through strength, which was introduced to love by infatuation, and they've been together ever since. with misguided courage. You know, that's why you got people out here doing what they do. Whenever they did it, you know, toting guns, you know, killing people is nothing new. Black on black, that's been going on for a long time. But see, it's a lot of incentives given now, which is fueled by the media and especially through entertainment. You know, if we listen to music, that's all you hear. It's kill, kill, this, that, you know. That's what we're being guided by. But beyond that, our people, we came here, at first we were a bill of lading. We were a part of a ship. We went from a bill of lading to a bill of sales to shadow paper to a birth certificate. So it's no different. You know, a piece of property.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what that states.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, like every caller that called, you know, has something relevant to say. You always, Solomon, drop tremendous jewels, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
But we have to be held accountable for ourselves now because we have a commander-in-chief who's telling us, showing us that we don't mean anything to him. And it's just like point blank. He can say, you know, they have that saying, what you say can and will be used against you in a court of law.
Mm-hmm.
That does not apply to some people.
Yeah.
But it applies to us all the time. But God bless, like I said, thank you for taking my call.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. We appreciate your call this morning on WURD. Let's go to Stanley Crawford on line 4. Go ahead, Stanley.
Brother Solomon, good morning to you and your audience.
Good morning, brother. How are you?
I thank the Creator, man. The other day when I was looking at the news and they was talking about all the violence and the murder and children and things of that nature,
yeah,
I was really affected by that.
Yeah.
Because like you do, Solomon, and what we're trying to do, I believe that the brothers has to come together, Brother Solomon, and be the vanguard because that's how babies die.
Yeah.
And the more we sit back and wait, the onus becomes on us because each one of them babies and them persons that die is connected with a family, a community, friends and associates. And it's a rippling effect that we have to realize that nobody's coming to our rescue. That's why I support what you do, Brother Solomon, and other brothers in the community. I'm trying to make it out what South Philly. But we have to come together, Brother Solomon, do what you're doing, and let's strategize. Maybe we need another call out and call out, and let's put like you did. You know, you put the call out, and we did galvanize some brothers, but we need many more. We need manpower because these streets is catching our babies before we can put in them what we say we need to put them and take out of them what has been put in them, Brother Solomon. So I think the person who killed my son, I bet you $1 to a donut. His mother or his father or his family members. I said, I want you to grow up and be a murderer. Right. We have to deal with what is that in our environment that is counting what we put in our babies. And we as black men, I believe this wholeheartedly, has to get up off the couches, come out the churches, the masses, the schools of higher learning, and let's put some strategy together that we can counter the death and destruction that is being done. That was a travesty this weekend. Not only here in Philadelphia, but around the country. But the solution has to come from the black men. And we talk about black families to this extent, but we have to realize that element is very much depleted as a result of the 40 years of this crack cocaine and other things. So we don't have that family structure intact, and we need to be able to find strategies how we could bring it back so we can protect the babies. Our children, and here's another thing, Tom, I'll let you go with this one. I say to the black men, all of those people are being murdered. Not only did a woman produce them, a man helped in the process of producing them. But when things is occurring, I don't see the brothers with the same urgency that I see with the sisters. That person who killed my son would still be in the street killing other people if you, Solomon, and all these other brothers that helped me through this process to get that one off the street, and he killed 3 other people. But if we keep sitting back and not doing anything, these people is going to murder other people, and they should not have a safe haven in our community.
All right. I hear you, Brother Stanley, and I want to thank you so much, man, for everything that you do. Of course, we're going to be on our Man Up PHL online mentoring session tonight. We're going to be doing that at 6 p.m. as well. So we are going to go to break, and on the other side, we're going to continue the show with our next guest. I am Solomon Jones. This is WRD. We'll be right back.
Check out the Source lineup on Word Radio. Mondays, get ready for the rapping professor, Dr. Aaron Smith. On Tuesdays, it's Andrea Lawful Sanders.
Then on Wednesdays,
it's the Black Women's Leadership Council. On Thursdays, it's a second helping of Andrea Lawful Sanders. And on Fridays, it's Tiffany Bacon.
Don't miss the Source.
Monday through Thursday, 1 p.m. till 4 p.m. and Fridays, 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. Exclusively on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Streaming live on wordradio.com and on the Word Radio app. Want the latest in Word swag?
Check out the shop tab on wordradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on wordradio.com. Show the world that you're all about black.
Talk media.
1 in 23 will be diagnosed with colorectal cancer in their lifetime, yet more than 60% of deaths from colorectal cancer could be avoided with preventative screening. A colonoscopy can save your life. Skip the pre-visit and schedule your screening directly at einstein.edu/colon. Colon cancer is preventable. Learn more at einstein.edu/colon.
And blessings, everyone. This is Leah Penniman of Soulfire Farm, and I am very excited to share with you today an excerpt from my book, Farming While Black, Soulfire Farm's Practical Guide to Liberation on the Lands.
Join WURD this Wednesday, July 9th, for a special Black Farmers broadcast with WURD's EcoWord initiative during Reality Check with Charles Ellison. Visit EcoWord.com to listen to an excerpt of Farming While Black and tune in to Reality Check for a conversation with Alexandra Barlow from the Black Farmers Fund. You don't want to miss this special broadcast this Wednesday, July 9th, 11 a.m., exclusively on Word Radio, 96.1 FM, 900 a.m., streaming live on wordradio.com and on Word TV via Facebook.
This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Independent black media.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD.
This is a continuation of the mistreatment of black women in the United States. When I think of Black Lives Matter, I'm not just thinking of police brutality. I'm thinking about a whole law enforcement system screaming for reform. You can't tell me he didn't know something, and even if he didn't, he should have.
And now, Roxanne Jones, live on Wake Up with Word.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. And joining us now is Roxanne Jones. Roxanne Jones, of course, is a CNN commentator, former VP at ESPN, Emmy-nominated producer, co-author of Say It Loud, an illustrated history of the black athlete, and CEO of the Push Marketing Group, a media strategy firm. Roxanne, good morning.
Good morning, Solomon. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good.
Okay. All right. So we
I
got
woke up this morning.
I
so
know, right? Let's start there. That is the whole battle.
That is the whole battle. That's where it all begins.
Yeah,
right? So
absolutely.
we got a chance. I got
Absolutely.
a fighting chance. That's
Yep.
all I know.
You do. And so Bill Cosby is going to have a chance to appeal his case, Roxanne. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's justice, right? Like you have the right to an appeal, so I don't see why he should be denied that. And you know, I thought he should have gone to jail or prison. I think he's guilty, but I also think that he deserves justice, equal justice as it's laid out to be, just like any other person. And so I think that that's good.
Yeah.
And we'll see how his appeal goes.
Yeah, we will. We will. So I also want to talk about some of the other things that are happening across the country because Georgia is exploding. First, Ahmaud Arbery was killed by vigilantes. Then Rashard Brooks was killed by cops. Now Keisha Lance Bottoms, the Atlanta mayor who led them through much of it, has tested positive for coronavirus, even as she's being considered for VP. To make matters worse, Brian Kemp, the governor who suppressed the black vote to get into office, has called in the National Guard, claiming the crime in Atlanta has forced his hand. God, that sounds like a movie intro, doesn't it?
It does.
What do you think about it?
Because that movie has been done many times.
You
right?
know, this is crazy. What do you think? What do you think, Roxanne?
Well, first, I have to say I have family in Atlanta, siblings in Atlanta. So, I'm always concerned about what's happening in Georgia. And although Atlanta has been laid out as a mecca for us, I never lived there. But I do know every time I go there, if I step outside of the boundaries of Atlanta, I'm in the Deep South. And it has never felt like a friendly place for me. So it's like a little island. So this stuff is coming out of Atlanta, Georgia, Kemp, and Arbery. None of it is surprising. That's Georgia. But the mayor, it's very sad that the mayor is now, she said she has no symptoms. Her husband also has the virus. I think her children are okay, but I'm not sure. But, so now she's got to try to be mayor. She's done a very good job leading the city through this police chaos and, had the police chief was fired. She brought in a black man, now police chief. She called for peace, but she also had a communication with the protesters. So she's tried to do everything she can to move the city forward and keep it from disintegrating into chaos.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what's going to happen with that now. And because she was out there on the front lines, like, here's the sacrifice, right? Now she's sick. Now she's sick, and it's not surprising that the governor, Kemp, has now moved in to send 1,000 National Guard members there.
Yeah.
Because Keisha is now concerned about home, as she should be, number one. And so I just hope that the city doesn't explode. But I would say that I've been listening and talking to people, because now I'm getting sent videos of black people, black women and men being just beaten up by white people, stuff that we don't see on the news. They're in small towns. This stuff is going on all over the place. We have to remember it is not just what we see on 30 minutes of news. This is happening all over the country. But I just want to caution us. I know we're feeling sad and depressed and confused and afraid, but I think some of the language that we're falling into, like we're killing more of our people than police.
That's right.
The mayor
That's
of
right.
Atlanta was talking like that, and my heart was hurt because it is not. We cannot fall into that. We might as well call ourselves super predators. And when you say that we as black people have to remember Black Lives Matter, that message needs to be for us first.
Yeah, that's right.
For us to take into our hearts. Because when I heard the mayor saying that, and when I hear other people saying that, talking about, our kids like they're animals, I don't care what they've done. I don't care what we have been through this before. We cannot fall into the rhetoric that gives people like Kemp the power to send the army against us, the military against us, the National Guard against us. We have not done more damage to ourselves than white supremacy has done to us.
Yeah, and that's deep because that's deep.
We can't fall into that.
That's deep because that's what, every time I hear that, I just think about the fact that any kind of hatred that we have for each other, to me, is internalized racism. We get from the cradle to the grave, we get the message that our lives do not matter, that we are less valuable, we are less important, we don't really, have the same value as other people. Like, we get that message from the cradle to the grave. Is it any wonder that in our communities that there is violence? But there's violence in every community. So to try to point to black people like somehow we're unique, right? We're worse than everybody else. I agree with you, Roxanne. We cannot fall into that trap. We got to figure out what to do for ourselves in order to make our communities better.
Right. And there is a way. Of course, we want to talk about these things. We want it when we're, but we just have to be, I think, I don't even want to say smarter, but we just have to love ourselves just a little bit more, even in the face of violence and death. And, I speak as somebody who was touched by gun violence in my life. So we always have options. We can speak with hate and mistrust everybody around us who looks like us. And some of that is normal. That's natural. That's the process. But when we wake up, we cannot empower these people to keep their knee on our neck. We can't do it because all they need, and I've seen this in corporate America, in my own career, in my life, all they really need is for us to give them one little iota of permission, for us to be in chaos, for us to be hating each other, to allow them an excuse, like Kemp now has. The city is in chaos. He didn't care about Atlanta before.
Nope, not at all.
They had five shootings over the 4th of July. No, I think 5 people died, and they had maybe 30 shootings. He wasn't talking before about sending any National Guard in. He didn't care about that. That is politics.
That's exactly what it is.
He is saying right now, you see, we got this black woman running this city. She can't control the city. In fact, now she's down for the count. So let's go in and take this over so we can suppress all these votes, so we can create more chaos, which will lead to more violence, the more military that's on the streets facing the people. They're not going to stand for that.
Yeah.
So that's going to create more violence, and then it'll all be pointed back at us, as some black people are saying now, as the mayor herself said, trying to blame the violence on us, trying to blame all the oppression on us, and we can't speak like that. I like that mayor of Atlanta, but I do think that she's having a traditional conversation, a conversation that we have always, because we're desperate, we don't know what to do, and we're feeling pain. But leaders who are telling us, like we're doing more damage than police, or telling anyone, any part of us, we're worse than the police who are killing us. Why can't we be like Martin Luther King? That's not the way to have this conversation and to heal anything. That's not the way to do it. And so, and that gets regurgitated, right? And then before we know it, the National Guard is there and we're in a police state, or somebody's calling us super predators, or somebody like Joe Biden is trying to come up with some mass incarceration laws again. Like, that's how that happens. It's all a snowball effect. And so if we can, like you said, start with ourselves, and, we work on this in my own family, believing Black Lives Matter, no matter what maybe your mama told you in her pain and not knowing how to raise you, or your uncle did to you, or whatever. We still have to try to hold on to that. And the only way I can do it, Solomon, is I've been flipping the pages of my good book, that Bible. I've been in it because I miss church.
Yeah.
So, just finding some place in myself to center every day and try to remember that there's a bigger plan than what I can see just on the ground from here. There's a bigger plan no matter what's coming at me, what's coming at us. And always try to hold that in my heart, and to know that, I'm loved and valued. We all are loved and valued. We just have to try to dig that out. Sometimes we have to do it by ourselves. And with God, that's it.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody going to help us.
How about that? And speaking of a lot coming at us, wanted to talk about Donald Trump, because he has said that Bubba Wallace, the only black driver in NASCAR, should apologize after Wallace found a noose in his garage where his NASCAR car is parked and where his team works. The FBI claimed it was not a hate crime, so Trump claimed it was a hoax. Wallace has said he'll answer hate with love, even if it comes from the President of the United States. My question to you, Roxanne, is this. Why does Trump seem to always single out black male athletes, and in doing so, is he painting a target on their backs?
Well, I would say yes. And I would say because I actually had to work with Donald Trump when I was boxing editor for ESPN out in Vegas. He was behind a lot of those, Mike Tyson, a lot of the fights, a lot of money out there. He considers himself like a sports fan, sports expert, like the sports commissioner of everybody. Like he's a sports groupie. That's how we always described him. He was just a sports groupie. And so I think he feels very comfortable in that space because it's sports, I mean, football, boxing, where there are predominantly black men. Like he has been around them forever. And I think he feels like he has carte blanche to go after them. For me, for him, that's like an easy target. He knows sports. He doesn't know foreign policy or, anything else about how to run the country, but he feels like he knows sports. And so I think that's a comfortable target for him to project his white supremacy, his racism. He doesn't have respect for the black men. I don't want to say he has no respect, but he also feels like, I created it. I put so much money behind them, and some of them are my friends. And, like it's a disgusting symbiotic relationship that I've seen him have with many, many, many black athletes, black male athletes. And yes, he's putting a target. He's putting a target on everybody's back.
Yeah.
Yes, he's absolutely doing it. Really what he's doing is just giving permission. And you see him flashing his white power signs every day. That man is flashing signs every day, Solomon, every day. And so, yes, he is putting a target on the backs of black men, certainly black women, where he loves also to devalue and denigrate us. And so we should just go in knowing that. And on our babies, when he tells police to, rough them up a little bit. So he's put the target on all of us. And that is just another reason why we need to get him out of office. And no matter what chaos is happening on the streets and around us in our lives, and I mean from the pandemic on down, somehow we have to find the fortitude to get out there and vote and get this man out of office, because I don't know what another 4 years with him will look like. Chaos, civil war. I have no idea, but I do know that it won't be good for black people.
When I look at Bubba Wallace, he's in a unique position because he's there by himself.
He is.
Ain't no other black people down there. He's down there by himself, right, as one of the stars of this sport that has been really a bastion of Southern racism for a long time. They've had Confederate flags flying, at the tracks. They've had, it's like the Dukes of Hazzard down there, right? And so Bubba Wallace there by himself. And so when Donald Trump says Bubba Wallace should apologize, when Bubba Wallace is down there by himself as the only black man, that's a special kind of target. I know what you mean by he's targeting everybody, but when he says that about Bubba and Bubba down there by himself, it's a scary thing, Roxanne.
Yeah, it is a scary thing, but I have to tell you, Bubba is by himself, in front of the cameras and, on the NASCAR scene. But Bubba's not by himself. He didn't get there by himself. Bubba has a lot of support. And he's also, we have to protect him, right? He now has black fans going to all the races, giving him support. He's got his own little crew of people who are around him protecting him. And I'm happy to see that. But he also, sometimes we are by ourselves in this. Sometimes we're going to be by ourselves. And I'm so proud of Bubba, who black communities didn't really know about him, right, unless you follow NASCAR. But look how strong and beautiful he is by himself. Look how he stood up immediately and first spoke out about what the news, then refuted the FBI report and said, wait, you're trying to test my integrity. My integrity is strong. I know what this is. And that was a bogus report. And now to the president. And he's not the only one of a black person who's had to do that in the spotlight. Jamel Hill had to do that a young woman just working at ESPN.
Right, and they got rid of her.
Lost her job, exactly, because President Trump said she should be fired.
Yeah.
So he is not the first, Bubba is not the first person, black celebrity person who's out in the public eye to be criticized and targeted by this president. He continuously does that, and we know that he will do that. And so, yes, Bubba needs protection. He's not, thankfully, by himself.
Well, who's with him? You keep saying he's not by himself. Who's with him? I mean, the other NASCAR drivers, of course, have kind of rallied around him, which is nice. But when I say he's by himself, I mean he's the only black driver on the circuit. And so who does he have with him?
I'm not talking about other drivers. I'm talking about his family. I'm talking about his group of friends. I'm talking about now the dozens, maybe more, last time I counted, of black people who are following him around the circuit every place he goes with Black Lives Matter T-shirts on, with, like saying, we're watching him. This man is not by himself. So if you're going to try to do something to him, know that we're seeing you. I mean, that's about the best we can do, right? Like we can't count on our jobs, the corporations we work for, or NASCAR or the sports teams to protect us. They're going to protect us as much as we are a commodity for them.
Right.
But when stuff happens like this to Bubba, NASCAR rallied around him. NASCAR has actually been stronger, certainly, than the NFL ever was. Even they refuted the FBI report. Even they put up the picture of the noose and said, when the FBI said this isn't a noose, here's the photo. We want you to see what it is.
Yeah, it's a noose.
It's clearly a noose. So when I say he's not alone, I don't mean that he's got tons of other black racers or people in the forefront that we can see on television.
Okay.
He doesn't have that.
You know what's interesting is that he's racing for Richard Petty now. So when I was a kid, I would sometimes watch these races, and I remember Richard Petty. Richard Petty was one of the premier drivers on the NASCAR circuit, and now Bubba Wallace is a member of Richard Petty's team. And it was interesting to see Richard Petty with his cowboy hat and everything else kind of stand up and be like, no, I'm with Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace is part of my team. I thought that was interesting to see how things are kind of moving in a direction that is going to open up that sport to other people. And you know what I mean?
Yes, no, I think so too. And I've been to NASCAR races and to the tracks, and in my sports world, and slowly but surely, I think that while nobody is paying attention, because that sport doesn't get a lot of TV publicity.
Right.
The fans who are in it, it's like a cult sport. The fans who like it follow it. The rest of the world carries on. But they have made some inroads, and they actually do have some, at least when I was around, they do have some executives who are black. So it's not, they've done some surprising things. I forget some of the things that, they had some partnerships with HBCUs. They've done some stuff in communities in the South that don't get talked about, but to show that not everybody there is the redneck, cowboy boot wearing person, white man that we think of.
Yeah.
And it also gives me hope, and certainly I'm sure Bubba and others who are interested in this, that there are pockets of hope no matter how bad we think the situation is. You see in Richard Petty, NASCAR standing up for them, NASCAR being more of a leader in this conversation than the NFL. That's 70+% black.
How about that?
Right. So I think, we just have to take the hits as they come, Solomon, and try to be strong and hold on to hope. Look for strength where we find it. Bubba is giving, I think, strength and hope to a lot of black people, most of whom aren't even in racing, don't care about racing.
Yeah, how about that? That's Roxanne Jones. She's a former VP at ESPN, CNN opinion writer, Emmy-nominated producer, co-author of Say It Loud, An Illustrated History of the Black Athlete, and CEO of the Push Marketing Group, a media strategy firm. Roxanne, thanks so much.
Thank you, Solomon. Have a positive week.
You too. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to talk with Judge Renee Cardwell Hughes. She is the president and CEO of the Philadelphia Opportunities Industrialization Center, better known as OIC. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Start every Sunday the right way with Sunday Morning Praise. Hosted by the Reverend Louise Williams Bishop. Every Sunday morning beginning at 6 a.m. right here on WURD 96.1 FM and 900 AM. Streaming live at WordRadio.com and on the Word Radio app.
In Pennsylvania, everyone counts, and everyone needs to participate in the census. Our population count determines our voice in government and how much federal funding our communities receive for health care, food assistance, education, transportation, housing, and more. So every infant and child, every foreign and U.S. citizen, everyone matters. For a stronger future, we all need to count. To learn more, go to pa.gov/census.
No fear, just facts. This is WURD, Independent Black Media.
Your child deserves to be educated in a safe learning environment. Southwest Leadership Academy Charter School is a tuition-free public school. Both our locations offer dual-gender environments with single-gender classrooms. Our students score in the top state testing percentile among area schools. Apply online at bit.ly/enrolls SLA in all caps. That's bit.ly/enroll SLA.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. Joining us now is Judge Renee Cardwell Hughes. She's the president and CEO of the Philadelphia Opportunities Industrialization Center, otherwise known as OIC. Judge Hughes, good morning.
Good morning, Solomon. It's great to hear your voice.
Yep, it's great to hear yours, too. So, we are, of course, dealing with a new reality with coronavirus and people not being able to congregate in the way that they did before. How has OIC adjusted to that new reality?
Well, Solomon, we've done a couple of things, and I have to start off by saying how very proud I am of the team at OIC, because if you remember, which we all do, the mayor and the governor shut everything down on Monday, March 16th. So we left the office on Friday, March 13th, thinking life was normal. Monday morning we wake up, everything is shut down. Within 30 days, we had converted 80 to 85% of our programming to remote and virtual learning.
Okay.
So we were able to continue to provide vital services to our community. Now, there were some things that couldn't convert. For example, a lot of people know OIC for our culinary arts program. Well, you can't teach culinary arts when you are physically apart, and it's not something you can really teach remotely. But we not only converted our existing programming to remote learning, we also were able to implement some new programs. So we implemented some certification programs that would help people get jobs in the current economy. We continued to place people in jobs during this time. So we continue to service people. But candidly, I believe in transparency. Mm-hmm. A lot of the people that we serve aren't. Remote learning is not their best approach.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, because a lot of us, some of us don't have internet access. Some of us don't know how to use a computer. Some of us don't know how to get online. There are some barriers to that for some of us. So how are you helping people to get beyond those barriers?
So originally, as I mentioned, we converted everything, but the reality is OIC has to go back into our building on North Broad Street. Mm-hmm. We have to be accessible to the people because we need for the people to reach us. Digital, if you don't have access to internet, if you don't have digital literacy, those are things that you have to come into our building for. being conscious of the demands of COVID and the need to be safe, as soon as the governor put Philadelphia into a modified green phase, we had been working all along on our safety plan. So now you have to wear masks to enter our building. You have to have your temperature checked. We have plexiglass shields that surround the reception area. What we are further doing is we're using the month of July to test all these systems to make sure they work. In August, we will launch an intake center. So we will offer 2 to 3 days a week for several hours each day the opportunity for people with a mask and a temperature check and a short COVID survey to come into the building, to talk to our intake people about the multiple services that we offer, the programs that we have, get information, sign up. And we're really pushing digital literacy and high school equivalency because 68% of the people who were laid off during the shutdown did not have a high school diploma. And yet the jobs that will exist in this new world require at minimum high school equivalency. So we're really pushing those programs for all of our participants and preparing to be there in the building for them to learn. We also had to redesign our building. So classrooms that normally held 20 people will now only hold 10 people. So we're making all of those changes to keep everyone safe.
Mm-hmm. And so OIC, of course, is a legacy organization. It's been around for a long time. One of the things that we have to deal with in our community is racial equity, trying to figure out how we get our people into jobs, into life-sustaining careers. What is OIC doing in that regard?
So there are actually multiple things that we're doing. We're offering the jobs that will exist tomorrow. All right, that's what we train people for. So, for example, right, we now will be offering in the fall an OSHA and OSHA certified CDC compliant environmental services program. There is a huge demand for people who are trained to use these new chemicals and the new techniques for environmental services. We have a smart energy program that trains people for positions in the utility sector. We have a financial services program because even though banking has changed and a lot of people are banking online, it still requires a lot of humans behind the scenes. So those are just some of the programs that we are looking to. We're actually 2 days from now, I'll be in conversation to develop an advanced manufacturing training program. Because if you think about the opportunities that exist in our community, a lot of advanced manufacturing takes place in the Southeast Pennsylvania region. So we are training people for the jobs that are here today as well as the jobs that will exist tomorrow. The other thing that we're doing is I am very, very, very aggressively working with our corporate community here in Philadelphia and corporate America in general. Because if you really want to talk about racial equity, then you want to talk about two things. You want to talk about high-quality education, and you want to talk about family-sustaining jobs. That's what we need to focus on. And also spending our money where it counts. I don't believe in spending my money anywhere where people don't respect me.
Yeah. I know that's right. So where do people learn more about what's going on with OIC and how they can get involved and get some of these classes?
Excellent. So you can call OIC, 215-236-7700, 215-236-7700. Or you can visit our website, which is PHILA, PHILAOIC.org. And both ways we will get back to you with information. I really, really want the community to know that we're here to eradicate poverty, to lift people up. I have a phrase that I use, and now I've got everybody in the office using it. For a better tomorrow, call OIC today.
Yeah. Love it. That is Judge Renee Cardwell Hughes. She's president and CEO of the Philadelphia Opportunities Industrialization Center, otherwise known as OIC. Judge Hughes, thank you so much for joining us this morning on WURD.
Sullivan, thank you so much for the opportunity. It's always great to talk with you.
Yep, great to talk with you, too. We're going to go to the phone lines. We're going to take your calls at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. That's 215-634-8065. It's 215-634-8065. Of course, people are also weighing in on Facebook. Lots and lots of comments this morning on Facebook as we talk about the issue of gun violence, which, of course, is a real issue in our community. We're going to be talking about it tonight on our Man Up PHL online mentoring session on Man Up PHL's Facebook page. That's at 6 o'clock tonight. Make sure you join us for that. But we're also talking about some other issues as well, including our top 3 stories, which include story number 1, Karen goes to court. That's right. The white woman who called cops on a black man who was bird watching in Central Park will be prosecuted, according to the Manhattan District Attorney, Amy Cooper. Welcome to court. Story number 2 is in Indiana. They are investigating a report by a black man who said he was pinned to a tree by a group of white men, an attack he likened to an attempted lynching, and the whole thing's on video. Story number 3, Bill Cosby convicted of sexual assault in 2018 as the Me Too movement exploded. He's serving up to 10 years in prison. Well, now in the midst of another movement, this time addressing the treatment of African Americans by police in the criminal justice system, the 82-year-old Cosby has won the right to an appeal. We want to know what you think about all of that. So give us a call, 215-634-8065. But before we go to the phone lines, let's get some of these comments on Facebook. There are over 300 comments on Facebook. Let's get to some of those. Of course, you can weigh in there at 4WURD. That's FORWURD, FORWURD. Kawesa, what are they saying this morning on Facebook?
Quite a few comments here. Steph Michelle says systematic racism has caused us not to trust anyone, including ourselves. It has caused a brokenness that desperately needs healing. It has blinded our people from seeing what we could be and what we can accomplish. So that's one comment right there. Gail Robinson says it is all our right to live. Wear a mask. So that's another comment that we have there. Mary Melly Briggs says, Solomon, we seriously need more programs similar to yours in our communities. Black men leadership plays a major role in the shaping of young black boys and men. And then we also have another comment, Gaspar Santos. This is a result of war on communities. This an American problem that we must lead. There are groups on the ground. Give them resources, and we will resolve this. And then Sharon V. Williams says, black on black crime must be addressed. I think that's what she's saying there. And then she's saying thank you. And then we also have here, trying to pull this up, Gail Robinson, people please read the deposition in its entirety in regards to Bill Cosby, because there is a lot of misinformation going on, because we are willing to accept anything, which ties into racism. And so that's another comment that was made. And then I think I did see one more that I wanted to get to, and that is Nikki Carter saying, exactly, Solomon, not a thing. Then when something happens, everyone says she should have said something. Too much judgment and not enough reaching out. So that was a little bit earlier as well. So those are quite a few comments that we have from our Facebook page.
All right. So I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. 65. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Of course, throughout the show, I'm always scrolling through and seeing what's happening. And one of the things that's emerged as people have begun arguing over these monuments, to me, it's a silly argument. We've taken down a couple. I think at this point, we need to be now focusing on the structure rather than the symbols. But people are arguing over these monuments. President Trump, of course, loving that argument because it allows him to look tough without really addressing the substance of anything, right? And so Tucker Carlson is this host on Fox News, and he has attacked Tammy Duckworth. She's a possible pick for Joe Biden's running mate. She's a veteran. She was a helicopter pilot in Iraq, and her helicopter was hit by a rocket-propelled grenade, and she lost both legs, right? So now she has some artificial legs that she walks with. And Tucker Carlson said this: "You're not supposed to criticize Tammy Duckworth in any way because she once served in the military. Most people just ignore her. But when Duckworth does speak in public, you're reminded what a deeply silly and unimpressive person she is. It's long been considered out of bounds to question a person's patriotism. It's a very strong charge, and we try not ever to make it. But in the face of all this, the conclusion can't be avoided. These people actually hate America. There's no longer a question about that." So here's a woman who served in the military, lost both of her legs, right, for this country, right, working with prosthetics now. And you talking about she hate this country? Where did you serve in the military? What did you lose? What did you give up? You know, these people talking about all this stuff. Donald Trump is a draft dodger, right? Who claimed he had bone spurs in his feet and he couldn't serve in the military. Tammy Duckworth lost both of her legs, whether you agree with her or not. Right? Because she says we should have the conversation. If people want to have the conversation about these monuments, about removing monuments to George Washington because he owned slaves, we should have the conversation, right? That's all she said. Well, after Tucker Carlson claimed she hated America, this is what Tammy Duckworth said. She said, "Does Tucker Carlson want to walk a mile in my legs and then tell me whether or not I love America?" Man, oh, man, oh, man. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. My Bible tells me that the heart of a man is desperately wicked and deceitful above all things. Who can know it? I don't know your heart. I don't know whether you love America or not. You know what I mean? And for me to question it is just, it really reveals how deeply silly you are, to try to question somebody's heart who's lost both of their legs for this country. Come on, man. At some point, just shut up. Lynn from Darby is on line one. Go ahead, Lynn.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Solomon and Kawesa and my word family. I just want to remind everybody to, I hope I'm right, buy black July the 7th. And like Judge Hughes said, put your money where it's appreciated. Help our own out first. And I just want to encourage everybody to listen to the Man Up tape, session today at 6. And join organizations like Man Up and OIC with Judge Hughes at the forefront. And Dwight Evans came on Word this weekend, and they were asking him, what can we do about this violence? So he's going after the gun manufacturers. I thought I heard him do that before in the past, but I just wanted to encourage our community to get more involved. If you're frustrated with our black youth being killed, then you got to join these organizations and be active in them. And another thing, I agree with Roxanne. Isn't Bill almost finished his sentence if he's good? It was supposed to be a minimum of 3 years or something.
Yeah, it could be a 3-year minimum. Could be.
Well, he's almost done. Just let him out. But I agree that he's almost finished his term if he's good, and just let him out. Maybe he'll do more for us as he did when he was, very active with Temple and donating money to the colleges and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, let him out. But I just want us to, later for them statues and monuments, stay focused on our agenda, and I think we should get involved locally for our justice and equality. And you guys have a beautiful, wonderful Tuesday, and thank you for everything you do, Solomon and Word, and I just love you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. Love you back. Tell Indigo I said hello. We are going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to continue the conversation with what's trending right here on WURD.
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president.
and I approve this message. I'm asking for your support to join our team. We need a leader to unite this country. We need a leader who will push an agenda to move everyone forward, to share in our country's great economic prosperity. Someone who will lead, but also who will listen. Someone we can be proud of. This election isn't about me. It's about you, your family, your community, and our country.
Paid for by Biden for president.
Support independent black media and join the Forward movement now at 215-425-7875 or visit wordradio.com.
So many times we say to ourselves, I need to make a difference. Well, your chance is here. Center in the Park is holding a virtual volunteer event Thursday, September 10th, 2020 from 1 p.m. till 3 p.m. Advocate for those who can't, support those who can, and ensure all long-term care residents live with dignity and respect. Register for the Ombudsman event at cipombudsman.eventbrite.com. We all feel better when we do something that matters and when we do something with purpose.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Circuits are busy.
Here's what's trending.
Yo, that's crazy.
On Wake Up with Word.
Jamie Foxx is transformed for his latest role, bulking up his upper body in preparation to play heavyweight champ Mike Tyson in the boxer's upcoming biopic. Even after his Oscar-winning turn as Ray Charles, he's still cautious when it comes to biographies, saying doing biographies is a tough thing. Sometimes it takes 20 years to get them done, but we officially got the ball rolling.
And Terry Crews is doubling down on his criticism of the Black Lives Matter movement. Crews announced on Twitter the night before the 4th of July that he is a human rights activist, not a human wrongs activist. On the 4th, he tweeted, "Intelligent decision-making sometimes require you to forget what you've lost and evaluate the situation as it exists today. This is not the oppression Olympics."
And 50 Cent appeared on Lil Wayne's Young Money Radio, where he spoke about being attracted to, quote, exotic women. He said that his attraction often earned him the ire of angry black women. That ish is exotic. This ish looks different from what you see in the hood every day. And that is what's trending.
All right, that's what's trending right here on WURD Radio. Terry Crews. Is Terry Crews married to a black woman?
He is. She's very fair, but she's black.
Okay.
But
All right. Okay, barely.
Yeah.
Anyway, 215-634-8065. That's 215-634-8065. What do you mean this is not the oppression Olympics? Come on, bruh. Use your powers for good, not for evil. Like, I'm so disappointed. I'm disappointed in Terry Crews. You know, come on, man. Stop it. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. You know, one of the things I think that I see as a responsibility, as someone who has a platform, right, is that I do not needlessly criticize my own people in a time when they are trying to move towards something positive. Sometimes we have to call each other out, right? But we don't do that needlessly, especially when we are in the middle of a movement, right? When we are dealing with real racism, real oppression, real subjugation, real hurt, real lives being lost, right? It is not my job to parrot the message of the oppressor. It's not. That's not my job, right? My job is to figure out how I can support the elements of the movement that align with my beliefs. That's my job. And guess what? Anything that I don't agree with, in a moment when I see my people trying to move towards something positive, sometimes you just got to be quiet. Because by speaking out in a way that is critical, you're actually hurting the movement. You're actually helping the oppressor. You're actually doing things that do not help. So sometimes you just got to shut up. You know what I mean, Kawesa? You know, at some point, if you don't have anything good to say, I'm going to go back to what my mother told me. If you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. Like, just shh. Like, shh.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. Like, I mean, even the same with 50 Cent. Like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, bruh. Like, and you say things and it's so hateful towards the movement. A lot of times, and here's my other thing, too. You know, I don't have any problem with you loving who you love, but, like, how come it always turns into this hate for, you know, black women? It's like, oh, these angry black women. This, like, I'm just like, both of you, can y'all both be quiet? Like, I need for you both to just shh. Can we just collective shh? I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think so, too. You know, when we are in a moment like this, when we are in the middle of a movement, to try to secure just regular rights for black people, the right to survive a car stop, right? The right not to be stopped and frisked, the right to walk down the street comfortably, the right to get into an elevator without somebody clutching their pocketbook, to walk through a store without being followed, to go to the beach without being pinned to a tree. Like, we just want regular stuff that everybody else has. We ain't asking for nothing extra, right? And we're not really asking at all. At this point, we are demanding. And so for you to then step into the midst of those demands and start to criticize it, you are hurting the movement, bruh. Be quiet. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Let's go to Mike from North Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Mike.
Good morning, Solomon. How you doing, good brother?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Maybe Terry Crews will start trying to get that new rule and step in section.
What is he doing?
I don't know what he's doing.
Man.
And what, I wish Donald Trump had bone spurs in his mouth. Maybe he should shut up. It's just a myth. You know, maybe the good thing that Karens are starting to be held accountable.
Yeah.
You know, and Solomon, I leave for work early in the morning. I traverse the city and the suburbs, and I see so many young women out here with babies early in the morning. I wish they would just, not that I'm criticizing anybody, but, you know, stop having babies by these no good men. How can you let a woman go out with a baby early in the morning like that? That's crazy. And did you see the video of the business owner down Old City who pulled out a gun on the black man who was going by and yelled at them for social distancing? He pulled out his gun on him.
I did not see that. Oh, wow.
You know, and the woman, the white woman who was a witness said that he pulled his gun out first. He tried to say, oh, I thought he had a gun in his back pocket. It turned out to be a bike lock. He said, my training kicked in. Where do you think you at? You know, and then my very last thing is yesterday on the news, I watched it, Jim Kenney say on the news yesterday, maybe we can address the homicide thing after we're done with the protest. Well, what is the priority? The protesting or people killing each other? Thanks. That's all I got today. Thank you.
All right, man. I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. If you want to get in, it's 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. I'm going to go back to the phone lines, talk to Olanian from Nicetown on line 3. Go ahead, Olanian.
Greetings. I have a question and another question. Is there a connection between the names Bubba and Baba? And the racing card gentleman, is he going to vote for Trump or did he vote for Trump? That's all.
I'm sorry. So is there a connection between Bubba and Baba? You mean Baba, the term of respect in the African culture, which kind of means elder or father?
Yeah.
Is that? No, I don't think so. And what's your other question?
Okay. Is he going to vote for Trump or did he vote for Trump?
I don't know who he voted for.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. Being in an environment like he's in, I wonder if there's pressure for him to, or does he just think like a Republican?
Yeah, I don't know. And I don't know, what anybody does once they get in the voting booth. They can say anything. They get in that voting booth, they do what they want. But, Olanian, I want to thank you for your call this morning, brother, on WURD. If you want to get in, it is 215-634-8065. Lord have mercy. 215-634-8065. So the video that Mike called about of this Old City lounge owner pointing a gun at a black man, talk about social distancing. It's a real thing. And so I'm trying to figure out the name of this place where this man pointed that so I can tell our people never to go there and spend one dime. But it's a place on 2nd Street in Old City. We'll find out the name of it. But, yeah, it's white man pulling out a gun on a brother just walking by. You know what I mean? Like, what? Come on, man. Come on, man. White's going wild. This is crazy. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. So the guy's name is Jamie Atlig, and looks like the name of the lounge is Infusion. Black people do not spend any money there. It's on 2nd Street in the Old City. He pointing a gun at this brother just walking by. You know what I mean? Come on, dog. What are you doing? But this is where we are. This is where we are in this country. And then you got the nerve to try to explain it. There is no explanation. Lock him up. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. I'm going to go back to the phone lines. We're going to talk with Rob in North Philly on line 1. Go ahead, Rob.
Good morning, brother. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. And you're doing the work that's needed as usual.
Thank you.
And that's one of the things that we need to stem this violence is the type of work that you're doing with Man Up PHL and organizations like that. Those are the things that really like derail some of this systemic racism that's in place today. And another solution is education, man.
Yes.
We're lacking real education. And what that sister was just on your guest, talking about OIC is the type of education also that we need.
Absolutely.
We're under the impression that education is all just academics. And it is, but it also includes trades. It also includes wisdom and knowledge that's passed on from your family and your elders. Meaningful employment is another issue because if a guy has a decent amount of money coming in, weekly, monthly, or however, he'll react different with situations. He'll have a different pep in his step when he's making $40,000 as opposed to like there's jobs out here today, and you got to have 2 or 3 of them just to get close to $30,000 or $40,000, and you're wearing the brother out and taking him away from his family, and that's another issue.
Right.
The breakdown of the family, which is all part of the systemic racism that. It removes the education that you would normally get in your household. So this systematic racism, like Terry Crews, he's a byproduct of it. These are the type of things that are all in place that are so complicated that it's going to take all of these things to unravel. And if we could just remain just a little calm and keep infusing these things in, like Man Up PHLs and programs like this, we'll get to the root of it eventually. It's just going to take some time, just like it took some time to change our minds the way, and have us messed up like we are today. Thank you, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate your call this morning. You have a great day, too. And thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. If you want to get in, it is 215-634-8065. Gary from Germantown is online, too. Go ahead, Gary.
I was running with Terry when he had a problem with Hollywood. He had talked about a problem several years back of what those producers wanted to do with him. And I was running with him then. But now once he said this, he can go to where. Thank you, brother.
All right, thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. We got about a minute or two left, and so if you want to get in, you better do it now. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let's go to Diane from South Philly on line 1. Go ahead, Diane.
Solomon, good morning.
Good morning.
Excellent show as always.
Thank you.
I was going through my Facebook and listening to you guys also, but I think today is Buy Black Today, July the 7th.
Mm-hmm.
That's very important that we support our black merchants, to keep our communities alive, keep them functional, show our children what happens when we prosper with ourselves and we spread our joy and happiness and our wealth within our community. Say, bless Solomon. Sugar Lady said, hey.
Tell her I said, hey.
And listen, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
How about that? How about
All
that?
right.
Thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. We thank everybody who tuned in on today's show, including all of our guests. From CNN commentator Roxanne Jones to Judge Renee Cardwell-Hughes to our other guests as well who joined us this morning on the show, Dr. Delana Wardlaw and Dr. Elena McDonald. And we want to thank each and every one of you. And we want to remind you to tune in for Man Up PHL's online mentoring session this evening at 6 p.m. on the Man Up PHL Facebook page. We'll be talking about the gun violence that's happening in our community and what we can do about it. And now, for super producer Kawesa Mathis and everyone here at WURD Radio, I am your host, Solomon Jones, saying stay tuned for Reality Check with Charles Ellison, and tune in tomorrow at 7 for more Wake Up with Word. Peace.
Dietz & Watson has been making premium meats and artisan cheeses for over 8